morning, good evening, and good night, citizens. I'm Execute. Welcome to the Inforunners. Joined today by the Grinch himself, Oldman Hurston. Algared, how you doing, buddy?
No, Execute. You've got it wrong. I'm not the embodiment of the Grinch. I'm the embodiment of St. Nicholas himself. Yeah, man.
Honestly, when I got on camera, I thought he had a black hat on. I really did, but it's actually, lean forward so people can see, it's actually like a really dark blue.
Yes. For those who are in the know, it's actually there you go. I'll switch it around just for X. So it's
What is it? A Parramatta hat or something?
No, it's a San Diego. It's an official San Diego Chargers hat. Back in the days when they were in San Diego, not in LA, and they the badges are actually the games I've been to.
Oh, okay. Well, not to be outdone, I just took it up a notch. Here we go. You ready? Look, I've got lights.
Yeah. I was going to pull out my lights as well, but
yeah. All right. I gotta pop out chat. Oh, and by the way, just to up it a level, because I can do that. You ready? No, there we go. I think it's
yeah.
It doesn't snow here in the summer, but there we go. There's some snow.
And someone made the comment that I'm Professor Oldman Hurston, and you're Dr. X. I'm in a pub, like all great intellectuals have met in pubs. C.S. Lewis, George MacDonald, the great man himself, J.R. Tolkien. They met in a pub.
They're a very British thing. But I think they're a very British thing, pubs, and they've become a very Australian thing too as time's gone on.
That's because the British pubs are the traditional British pubs are totally different from ours. They're more like they're closer to the country pub.
Yeah.
That we'd see, but yeah.
All right. I'm getting everything turned on as I do.
Yep, I can see that.
As you can see, yep. We're almost there. Nope.
This is called setting up while we're live.
Just part of getting it going. All right, starting bot, starting vote, beginning. Cool, bot's going. Chat's fixed on the YouTubes, and we've got people on Twitch. Something is wrong. I only see 4 viewers. I'm talking about Twitch. Yeah, I probably need to set a name. Happy Luminalia. I'm just gonna call it Happy Holidays. This one. Happy Holidays. Done. Updated on Twitch as well. This one over to Twitch chat so we can see that one. Okay, I'm done. Cool. That was my fault. We're a little bit late, by the way. I did wake up, but I still haven't had my tea, so I haven't waken up.
He's got his tea with him now. That's why we're late. He had to go make it.
And I got these new ears yesterday, which allowed me to wear hats. So now I can wear different funky hats because the headphones.
And now we can wear tinfoil hats. A lot more common.
Yeah, that tinfoil hat episode was a pain in the butt because I had to somehow craft a hat that fitted over headphones. It was not pleasant.
Yeah.
All right.
I can fully get that. It's one of the reasons I actually went for the buds ages ago.
Yeah.
And because in the heat, the buds aren't as uncomfortable as wearing great big.
I've never thought of that, but again, I've got leather pads, so the leather pads don't do that. But I can already feel these are a bit weird in my ear. We'll see how we go after.
You seriously do get used to it.
Well, after a couple hours, I might be ripping the Christmas hat off and chucking the earbuds on.
I could get that. I got to admit, the hat pressing on the top, just on the tops of the ears, is making the earbuds feel a bit funny as well.
Well, that's why I put a cap on, and then I put the Christmas sound over the top. Anyway, so what do we have this week? Just a massive patch drop, 3.22 dropped. Any highlights for you in that one?
I haven't got in yet, but yes, the patch has dropped. So that's pretty cool. We knew it was gonna drop before Christmas.
It didn't feel like Christmas though. Normally I get in on Christmas time and it's terrible and it lags like crap and runs like horseshit. But this year was a pleasant surprise. I got in and it's like Christmas came early type of thing because it was running smooth.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things that can happen when they get more of the feedback they're after and they get more time to get it up. don't think they seemed as rushed in terms of getting it out. They had it in the, they had that patch in the Vivicardi and the experimental mode for quite a while. And so that enabled them to really get the bugs worked. And I hope that Pez had an impact on that. Like the experience they had with Pez told them they need to do a lot more testing and checking. So that'd be the positives, maybe, but yeah.
Yeah, I also think the start of the separation of the layer is working pretty well as well, and seeing stuff like that coming down the pipe. Like they definitely learned from Pez this year, that they've got to, especially to the wider public, if you know what I mean. Like, and I think that's what the EPTU is. It's to gate it going to the wider public. I don't know if you've kind of noticed that, but the only people that seem to get in are those regular players. The people that just turn up for the patches, they don't get invited.
Yeah.
So yeah.
That makes sense. Like, you want the people you want your dedicated backers. You want those who don't just turn up and then disappear. You want those who do play the game and who do support the game and who do the regular content and all the rest of it. Or just play normal, just because they're the people who are going to be more likely to test it properly and all the rest of it.
Yeah. So we've got a first-time chatter, Driver83, who says, "G'day guys, how's it going?" We've also got another first-time chatter called Human Evil that says, "There is a shit ton of bugs, but it seems a little more stable." Yeah, there's always going to be bugs until they get around to, actually doing proper performance passes and that, and they're actually probably working on Star Citizen. But yeah, it's definitely what I'm talking about. It's definitely more stable.
Yeah. I think that stability is probably more important than getting the bugs worked out.
I keep thinking I don't have my headphones on because I don't have.
Yeah.
I keep thinking I've got speakers on. It's really weird. Anyway.
Yeah, the first time you wear them, it is quite a sensation. You're used to that feeling and the sense of something over the head and all the rest of it.
Yeah.
But yeah.
CIG,
anyway, it's going to be a very, 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 very short show, X.
We only got one question.
We have one question.
Well, I was expecting a smaller stream for this time of the year. And it is, we have less viewers and noms, that's fine, but it's more intimate that way. I like it that way. And, if it gets a bit quiet, we can go in and play the game and check out some new stuff. We recorded a bunch of buyers guides this week, didn't we? So we did the Sandtalk, the X1, and what's the other one? The Rambler. And the Rambler is the only one that's released at the moment. And then we've got the other two to come. So there'll be one on the weekend, and then there'll be one on Tuesday, and then it'll get us through to next week's stream. So you and I can have kind of Christmas off a bit.
Yeah, and please, when you watch those videos, leave a comment. Agree with us, disagree with us, do whatever you like. Just be respectful. I don't care if you say we're wrong, and I don't even care if we are wrong. But if you leave a comment, that's engagement. And, if you're certainly disagreeing with it, I will guarantee, chances are I will respond and engage in that conversation with you, as long as you're not being disrespectful. If you're being disrespectful, I'll just ignore you.
It seems though the wider community kind of agreed with us on the Rambler, though. It wasn't that wasn't too much of a hot take. It just fell short. And it
did fell short to me. There were just some things I wanted to know how it fitted into a role when, to me, the Scout does the role that it does. And that was.
Sorry, there's a question there from Citizen Scott. What? No, it wasn't. It was from someone essentially said, besides the Rambler, I forgot. I missed who asked it, but basically said, besides the Rambler, how many ships have a suit locker? And there's a shit ton of them.
Yeah.
My first thought was the Vulture, because that's
It was
a Drake one, and it's got exactly the same suit locker.
it was T-Town Scott who
Was it?
asked that question. And what you got to make sure you do, T-Town, so it goes into when those questions get pulled out, just make sure you've got the word question anywhere in your statement, whether it's in brackets, whether it's just, hey, I've got a question, and our bot will pull it out and put it into our list and we'll see them.
But that is why I grabbed it, because he hadn't done
Yeah.
that. And it was relevant to what we were saying. So,
Yep.
yeah, there's a heap of ships that have got them. I know the C1's got them. Don't think of another one. Not many small ones, though. I think it'd have to be the smallest ship that's got a suit locker right now.
Yeah, I got the impression at one point they talked about having, when they were talking about, not being able to wear armor in your fighters, but having a place where you could actually store your, put your bits and pieces for your armor in your fighters, just so that if you had to get out, you could slot stuff on. I don't know whether that's going to be the case, whether they're going to stick with that, or whether it's going to allow you to wear light armor in the fighters.
I think the last thing was you can't wear heavy armor in non-special seats, essentially. So that would allow you to do kind of bunkers a little bit in the Rambler. That'd be to me that seems to be what the Rambler is tailored at, is bunkers. But the downside, and the thing that doesn't work for bunkers, is you can't. Well, I guess you could probably put a bike in there, but you can't put a mill in there anymore. Like, it doesn't fit. It fits in the other two variants, doesn't fit in that one. So, like, there's another.
I have heard people saying you can put bikes in there though.
Well, at the moment, though, a lot of the bikes though get shot because they hover like a ship, so they don't act like a vehicle, so they don't work at the moment, if that makes sense. So I have to wait and see on that one. So yeah, it's a bit weird. There's a little bit of controversy going on Twitch. So there's two people arguing about. I'm trying to figure out what's going. But they're going backwards and forwards about how the devs. Wait, my first time posting a message log. Okay, that is absolutely 100% true. So do you care about the dedicated testers? I think they really do care about the community. That's like something that actually really came across from a lot of the people that went to CitizenCon. It was like we obviously talk in the background to other content creators and stuff like that, and that was the thing that really came across, that they're just regular folks, and a lot of them are really into the game and they really want to see the game succeed. Like, you think about how many employees at a business actually care about the business succeeding. That's not very common. Like, you don't go to McDonald's and they go, so hope McDonald's is live tomorrow. Well, some do, but you know what I mean? Like, as in, yes, they care about having a job, but they don't care if they make millions of dollars or something like that. And in this case, they want the game to succeed because they believe in it as a project. I think you get what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. But I also think, like, early on, and it's something they've tried to maintain, is that customer service was seen as something that was important as well. And that was something that Sandy brought to the project. I remember a discussion. It was, why don't we do this? And because it's never been done. And she's like, what?
Yeah.
How can that be the thing? Yeah, but that's what everyone does. Yeah, but it doesn't mean we should do it that way. And it was that shift to actually ensuring that you did customer service and tried to do it right and put literally talk the concerns of your backers seriously.
And that changed
rather than just bobbing it off like most places did.
Yeah, well, that changed when she left, and that was a real loss in my book, and I know you feel the same, so yeah.
Well, yeah, it did change, but I think part of it is just also the size of the project. Like, I was looking at my dog tags, and I can tell you from my dog tags that I am something like 496,000th person to back the game. And that's 500,000 people when I joined, and now we're at 4 million. And so the number of people that I deal with now has grown, and I don't think the team has grown exponentially in the same regard. So there's an element where inevitably that was going to happen, where that sense of closeness was going to disappear. But
so let me just address this thing on Twitch, because I kind of see where it's going now. So Human Evil, what JJ is trying to say is because the project is currently in development and it's always moving forward, if they have to stop to fix the bugs all the time, it slows development down. So it is actually better for everyone, including us, in the long run. If you want to get to the final game sooner, if we can put up with bugs, therefore we will get to the end product sooner. And at the moment, the reason why it's so difficult with Star Citizen is you're really only seeing them work on Squadron 42. So to us, we're not seeing a lot of the development, so it makes it even more frustrating, right? But now as we're around the corner of Squadron 42 and releases in sight, you know, that type of thing, you'll see more people move over, and you will see those quality of life improvements. Like, just they've literally just come out last ISC, so last week, and literally said that all these improvements that they showed off at CitizenCon, they hope to have in, you know, most of them within the first 6 months. So that's crazy. So I'd love to see your response in 6 months' time, because it's going to look like a completely different game, and then in 12 months' time, it's going to look different again. So it's just been this huge waiting game, waiting for that first game to be finished.
Yeah. It's true.
And what do you define as a game-breaking bug? Tell us that in Twitch, right? And just at Inforunners so I can see it come up. But, you know, what is a game-breaking bug to you? Because I think there are some game-breaking bugs, agreed, but there's usually a workaround. It's funny how older backers like Algared and myself, and I'm thinking of John Citizen as well, that one of us has always got to work around to whatever the current problem is. You know, even if it's some kind of weird key pressing thing, Algared, you know, we'll get round it. And the funny thing is, it spreads within the community. It's like, well, here's another thing we've got to put up with while we wait for development. But when you get to a certain level of following this game for a certain amount of time, unfortunately, you do just become used to it. But we understand why it is, though, don't we, Algared? And I think that's the important part, is the understanding. Sorry.
Yeah, and I think some bugs are those that don't literally break the program. And you cope with them and say, right, we know what that type of bug is. We'll chase that down later. We'll chase that one down later. If the program's running, if they're graphical bugs or little things, you go, yep, okay, well, that's going to get fixed up when they do the polish stage and they're going through the... But you get your hoodworking, under the hoodworking first, and then you fix everything else. And I think it's just part of that progression as well. As time goes on, they are, you know, for issues that used to be the case that are no longer the case. So yes, and yes, Shem Pastor, I was not in the first 10 backers. I didn't find out about Star Citizen until late, and then I had to draw like blood from a stone from the people who were talking about Star Citizen. They didn't want to give me the info, and I had to say, just give me the bloody website. Let me decide for myself whether I want to back the game. You know, that was literally the sense of it. Oh, you can't back it. You can't play it. Oh, you have to spend money. Oh, you don't want to do it. No. Man, when someone's asking about the game, you give them the info. You don't say, oh, you don't want it. How stupid was that? You know, frustrated the crap out of me. Okay, rant over.
All right, we've got a whole bunch of questions to go through.
We do have a whole bunch of questions. I can do that one now because I've answered that one.
Yep, go for it.
All right, scrolling back up to the top.
Clever Ghost says, question, how about that front profile of the Santoki Eye? Yeesh.
Yeah. Well,
no, it says
like the
yeesh.
front profile of a cartoon.
Does that mean it's too big? In your book?
Yeah. Well, when it's in flight mode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I look at and if I think of this in gameplay terms, right? Gameplay adjacent, I think of the Crusader series. So you've got these bigger ships that move faster, but they're a bigger target, but they're harder to hit because they move faster. It's going to be the same thing for them, except they're going to have this weird alien flight model eventually where they've got this whole sideways things going on. And so, they don't want to get hit, but they're going to be easy to hit because they are harder to hit. Like, if that's the ironically weird thing to balance them out. So
their speed will be how they avoid getting hit, but they'll be a bigger target, so you'll see them in that front profile a lot quicker.
Yep.
It's something I've always thought. You know, it's the same thing that they're compared to the, say, a Hornet. They are lightly armored, so they'll be easier to damage as well. But they also punch harder. So
just like we were talking about to human evil before, that's just sadly another thing we're waiting for. And it's been this really long wait, and I literally, I think I said it at the end of the stream or during it was the reaction video. We had to do a reaction video, didn't we? And I literally said that just confirms to me the breaking of the dam. And I still feel that, like, he pretty much said in the next 6 months you're just going to see this torrent of shit come out, and then it's just going to keep coming because that wall has essentially been broken, because they're essentially not moving on, but a lot of people are able to come over from Squadron 42.
A lot of those things that have been holding up development are breaking, or not breaking, but having been completed, and that means all the stuff that was behind that had been done is now flowing through. And yeah, I agree, 100%. It's one of the things we will see and will continue to see. But I look forward to when we get armoring as well. When they put in when armor's in, and armor can be destroyed and pops off the ships. I expect pops off the ships as well. And
I'm hoping so. Well, you and I even looked at how they could do it, didn't they? You know, so in some cases we're not quite sure exactly how they're going to do it yet, because they could do it as a physical, like actual model part that comes off, but we've also worked out how they can do it with textures as well, believe it or not. And you will see it already in certain ships. So the one I would give an example on Algared is when you and I were looking at that Ares skin. And so we were looking at the default Ares, and there's that skin they brought out recently, the Mediterranean, whatever it was called, the kind of silver and black essentially. And when you put it on the Ares Inferno, the armor disappears. Right? So it showed that the armor is not physicalized as in like a 3D model, it's a texture. So if they can do it with a texture, that therefore they can just change the texture. Just like how you do a damaged model or whatever, they can have it, you know, come off, and then they could even spawn pieces that fall off. So it really depends on how they specifically want to do it, and they've obviously looked at it in different ways. We know the Hornet's meant to have these hexagon tile things, Algared. You do see it on other ships already, like there's the Night Runner skin, the Avenger has got it as well. There's a few ships out there, and I know the Perseus is definitely going to have armor at some point. So it depends on what ship, I guess, how they're going to implement it. But it's going to be kind of cool it's going to change the game as a lot of things are to come. So yeah. All right, next one.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the YouTube chat, and Limited Respawns makes a comment to Citizen Scott and says the annual Aussie freezer defrost is considered a snow day, and he said it, and it made me remember, you know, when we
the old box
cleaning up the freezer and tossing the ice out, and it literally did give you that
and you find some piece of meat that's been down there for like 7 or 8 years, and you just pull it out and go, yeah, it's still good.
The dog got that, but certainly the ice all over the yard was because you just toss it out. Yeah, so
I don't know. I don't know if you guys. I imagine people up like near Alaska and Canada would have similar freezers to us. Those really deep box freezers, and Nan would always, or your grandmother or your grandparents would always have that really big one, and it was like in the garage or something. And it was just like almost the whole width of the back of the garage, you know. And most people would like, it would be like a seat when you'd sit around drinking type of thing. Do you I don't know if you had one.
Never had one of those.
Yeah, but
we did have a small one, but
I had multiple relatives that had a very similar thing to that. So
yeah. Although I always scratch my head when I'm watching the shows, and you've got the Alaskans with their, you know, in the snow, and they've got this massive, great big freezer. But clearly, I just don't know the environment as well as, you know, you think of those areas being cold, so you're not needing those deep chest freezers as much. But yeah, I'd expect to see those in places like Mexico or Texas or California, you know, where it's hotter, not up where it's significantly colder. But Dejoko, so have you all tried the new master modes tuning in 3.22 yet? If so, what are your thoughts?
I haven't had a chance to check out the new master modes. I checked out the old master modes, but I haven't checked out the most recent one. So yeah.
Yeah, it's been a while since I've flown the the Gladius. I used to say you should learn to fly the Gladius and fly it well because that's the ship we have in Squadron. But I haven't held true to that, and therefore I have not tested or been really playing with master modes. So yeah, unfortunately, can't answer that question for you.
But the last time I was in, I did like what I saw. I just haven't. Unfortunately, I have not had the time.
And I know I saw related to that in the chat comments about how it feels like they've slowed everything down, and that unfortunately is by design. They want you to be able to dogfight in think Battle of Britain. That's the type of sense they wanted. The fact of you're literally dogfighting and flying around at World War II in space, and that means they don't want you to be doing boom and zoom runs. They want you to be doing seeing the white
jousting
thing
or anything.
Yeah.
And the focusing on, like, when they focus in on the turret thing, I really like that. And it'd be really cool if that's like a, I don't know, in multiplayer, I'd love that to be like almost like a turret only feature, but we'll have to kind of wait and see. It was kind of cool, like how they allowed you to focus in. Well, we'd had focus targeting before, but we'd never been able to kind of like zoom in. And if you think about that, there's a plus and a minus to that. It obviously narrows your vision, so you can't see things on your dashboard anymore. You're hyper focused on that thing, and as soon as you focus in, you lose peripheral and all that, and so therefore you are opening up yourself to other attacks. So it does make it naturally balancing in my book from that point of view. So
yeah.
All right, next one.
Citizen Scott, what's a traditional Aussie Xmas dinner look like?
Oh, I would say there's a big barbecue element in there, wouldn't you? It's usually a roast and a barbecue of potato salad. Oh man, I love potato salad. I'm just gonna leave it at that.
Yeah, for us, my family has European background, so English. Even to this day, Christmas this year will be roast turkey, roast pork, the ham, baked potatoes, vegetables, the whole kit and caboodle. Things like potato salad, that would have been lunch. And then things like potato salad and the salads and the hams and...
Oh, he froze. He's had a stroke again. All right, he'll be back in a second. It is... No, that's really early for that to happen.
5:30. No, I know.
All right, go ahead, Algared, you're back.
So Christmas dinner is just, roasts and pork, ham, turkey, roast vegetables, etc. And the potato salads and salads and hams would all be like Christmas supper and Boxing Day. But a lot of people will also do they'll do the fish, so they'll do the barbecues as well. I know my brother-in-law will actually cook. He takes care of cooking for Christmas dinner, and he will often do some of the meat will be cooked in a barbecue oven type thing outside. So I don't need to defrost the Citizen Scott in Australia. It's not defrosting the webcam. It's probably cooling the webcam.
It's just at the moment.
Because we're reverse of what you guys are.
Yeah. So
it overheats, so it shuts down.
This is the closest we actually get to snow right now. Virtual snow.
Yeah.
All right. Next question, Algared. If you've got another one.
I'll take last, damn it. Nova42 says, when's the next giveaway? I got an LTI card game pack that's throwing off my fleet. Well, if you want to keep that and hang on to it, we'll probably do the next one probably close to Invictus, I think is when we did the last one. So if you want to put that in the ships to give away, we'll gladly give it away for you. Or just give it to a friend for Christmas. If you've got a friend who could use a pick-me-up, you don't need us to do the giveaway. give it away yourself.
Yeah.
So,
absolutely.
But we will happily take it off your hands and give it away on stream if you like.
All right, I'm gonna have to look at that later.
3X Payne says, thoughts on the Mirai ship image that was leaked?
Yeah. It's like I did a video on it and nobody watched it. No, there was a lot of people who watched actually, Algared. That short I did, last time I checked it was almost up to 6K views.
Yeah, well, I did say to you, you showed me that, and I said, do a short.
It was Algared's idea to do it, so yep, I did it. Well, or was it me? No, wait. The first one was your idea.
I said do a short.
The first one was your idea. The second one, I said I'm gonna do a short. I think, but yeah, you gave me the idea for the first one, definitely.
I certainly said the second you showed me, I said do a short.
Yeah.
No, so
yeah,
it just seemed wise. You may have been thinking I'll do a short.
Yeah. What are we up to? 5,402 views on it.
Nice.
Yeah. Subscriptions have actually gone down.
Sorry?
Subscriptions have gone down. I just realized they were over 16,200 and now they're back to 1661. So because this happens a lot with us, doesn't it? AIE ends, and then so people don't need to follow us again until Invictus, so they turn off subs. So
yeah,
it just
but we've even got people who do follow us, who do sub, and they say, "Hey, I've been unsubbed, or I'm not getting your notifications anymore." So
that's true. And
I hear for channels I watch and follow, and they say the same thing. They say, the subs seem to get unclicked. So you've just, which is why you any channel you watch, they say click, 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 because it's such a common feature that people experience with YouTube, and so it's not just us trying to grow a channel, but it is literally trying to, if you're wanting to find out about stuff, make sure you click, because
so
unfortunately.
So for people that are asking their question, like there's a first-time chatter there, I often push first-time chatters to the front. But hey, TT Scott, you were on YouTube and now you're on Twitch. But anyway, yeah, first-time chatters, I'll try and answer if I see them on Twitch. But your question goes into a giant list. Actually,
you could probably pull it up.
Actually, what I could do is take a screenshot of it and put that onto the browser. So this is what me and Algared see, essentially. Hang on, just give me a minute. It's going to take me a whole minute. See if I can do this quickly. Let me do it. Nope, it's not. I'm going to have to do it this way, Algared. Paste that. Save that. And then just call it... Yep. You do the next question, Algared, while I do this. Otherwise,
so the next question was from the Driver 83, and this question was, will we see Viralian at next year's Alien Week? Are you excited to see it in game?
That's a really good question. That's a bigger ship. I think you're more likely to see that. But do you reckon they'd get it done in 6 months? The Santoki I took them over 9 months, and they did fail that thing though, didn't they? So
they did. It depends on. Well, we do have one of the Gatak ships already, so they've got a style guide kind of working for that, so they can draw on the Giron style guide already, as well as the Gatak stuff they're building up. So that will help them.
Yeah. So this is what
I think.
This is what me and Algared see, by the way. So
red, different colors.
Yeah, red is for YouTube, and the purple ones like this are for Twitch. And so they just come in this massive list, and Algared and I just emoji them. See how there's like little emojis next to them? That means we've read your question. I don't know why this one's been already emojied. Like, but yeah. And if we don't want to answer them or don't want to ask them, very rarely we'll put like a no origin logo on it. But that's about all you'll ever see on there. So,
that one down the bottom has been emojied because it was the one from Shempasta, which I pulled out of chat.
Oh, okay, cool. So yeah. And sometimes we'll do that. So that's just so we can keep track. So that's what we're seeing. But yeah, they're in a giant list, and we will just go down the list. And when we say pages, by the way, that's what we're talking about. So like we'll go, oh, there's 3 pages. That means we can scroll 3 times, and the whole screen is full of questions. That's the type of thing that we go through on a weekly basis anyway.
That also means that because it keeps them in that list, we can take our time to answer. We can go off on an excursive where you might recall when X was away and Paul and I were doing it, we didn't have access to the bot, and that meant we had to pull the questions out. And if you don't get them off the stream, they're gone. Yeah. And so you got to be really quick, and so you don't have that discussion time.
Yeah. That was Execute Appreciation Week, wasn't it?
Yeah. That was Execute Appreciation Month. You were gone so long. Come on.
Yeah, I was gone.
But yeah, it's amazing how that bot really makes life easier, and it does. I think enable us to do that discussion.
We might be due for an update. Pickles has been working on an update. Oh, I just noticed in the screenshot there's a message from Lemming. Let me read it. All right. Yeah. You do the next question, bud.
So I'm excited for Viralian. Do expect it might come. If it doesn't, it's life. But am I excited to see it in game? I'm excited to see every new shipping game, whether it's a bike or whatever. Doesn't mean I always appreciate the bike when it's there, but I'm always excited to see the new stuff come in, because it's the more we get, it's just Feathers. What are your thoughts on the Mirai Guardian? It's big. It's a heavy fighter. It's a multi-crew. I think it'll be a multi-crew ship. My initial thoughts were interior like a Vanguard. But your guess is as good as mine.
Hopefully it is. We'll have to wait and see. But again, being a heavy fighter, it can go either way, can't it? You know,
it could. It could go the way of the Hurricane, the Scorpius, and just be a twin-seater. It could also go the other way, like a Vanguard. I hope it goes the way of the Vanguard, because it feels like we've got a lot of the heavy fighters that are just like carrier-based heavy fighters, the Hurricane, the Scorpius, that type. But we don't have many. We don't have anything really that parallels or goes alongside the Vanguard. So it'd be nice to see something else in that style.
Yeah, I'm kind of hoping, and I did say this to you at the time, I'm hoping it's got some similarities with the Reliant, so it's got the verticality to it. You know, however many people it holds, if it's only one, fine. But I'm hoping it's at least 2 or 3, and you know, you kind of sit in a like the Minority Report ship, I think is the one I said at the time to you. So
yeah. I gotta go based on the image that I saw. The fact that there are 2 little people beside it for scale is what makes me think it's a multi-person ship, and compared to them, it is big.
Yeah.
So,
I'm just noticing chances of the Guardian Fury being a mothership. Probably none, and that whole thing about it having a mothership could be none as well. That's just speculation on our part. You got to, you know, I do try to make that clear. We like to have a bit of fun and speculate and see where things go, and we are often wrong. A lot of us is our hopium and coping and what ifs, you know, and that's a bit of fun for us, because right now, as I was saying, we've been waiting for this game so long, we kind of make our own fun, you know. What if the ship could do this, you know? In the past, we have been right sometimes, but that's not why we do it. We do it for fun. So,
look, I'd love to see that type of stuff. I'd love to see a mothership. There is in lore, there was that MISC were experimenting with snub fighters that would attach to other ships.
Yeah.
That's kind of where that grew out of.
And it's just got all these weird plugs on the back. It could be as simple as it's got a battery or something, and it's got like a charging port. So it's essentially like a rumba vacuum or whatever that, you know, like it just charges that way or something, you know. We just don't know. But yeah, it's got this alignment pins on the background, and it's got these weird ports that just kind of don't make sense. But you know, maybe it's just, again, it could be rule of cool. It almost turned out to be the same thing on the Rambler. The Rambler had all this stuff, and it changed in you know. I still think there was a pivot there somehow, because that booster on the roof, if you've seen it, is very just black and doesn't have any color to it and stuff like that. And the lights came out of nowhere as well. There was no lights for, you know, 12 months, and then they're there.
Yeah. Probably for me with the Rambler, probably the big thing is, why does it need a third hydrogen fuel tank if it's got a fuel scoop to take in hydrogen fuel. And I could see I can get behind the idea of the extra fuel tanks and a third quantum fuel tank, because you know that you've got to use the refineries to get that. But I'd have thought having double the quantum tanks would have made more sense rather than having a third hydrogen fuel tank. Now maybe I'm missing something. Yeah, to me it just seems a bit weird. But hey,
I literally would have just had a large fuel tank and had it mounted on the roof.
Yeah.
And like you and I said, the Scout has two size 2 well, not large. They should have had a size 2 fuel tank, or whatever. Because the Scout gets the cooler and the computer in size 2. It would have been cooler. It would have been good to see that. Well, it's meant to be the premium one. It don't look premium at all next to the Scout, and that's just And they haven't sold us on what is the massive advantage of a suit locker. Right, the only, as you and I said, like, yes, you can switch what you've got. So the only real advantage I can see is heavy armor. It's the only massive advantage I can see to a suit locker at the moment, or an environmental suit of some description. That's probably the only other one I can get to. So can it possibly go to places other ships can't? Yeah, that's about it.
Yeah, I have just also worked out a negative to the Rambler. You've got this great big box on the roof. It's a target.
Yeah.
And what is that great big box on the roof? Your quantum fuel tank.
Yeah. So that will make it. The other one for me though is they spent all that time doing those really cool engines, and then the aerofoil at the back, they enlarged it to the point now it's so big it blocks the view of those engines perfectly. And it's like, why would you go to all that effort to make, and they're the coolest looking ones, those exhausts, and they're blocked? It's like, who did not set up this camera view and went, right, well, they're blocked, maybe we should make these smaller or not put them in? So I don't know, I could sit here and critique it, and I keep trying to find positives, but when the whole ship starts on this negative slant, it just keeps going that way.
I think sometimes, for my take, as much as those engines are really cool, it would be nice to see them more clearly. But there's also an element where even the ship itself, the profile of a ship looks good. Even with those foils on it, it looks really good.
Yeah.
And it's nice to see the detail in that hidden compartment, which you can only see at certain angles. That to me is a plus, rather than a negative. Even though it'd be nice to see them, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. Well, hopefully it will. Like, they asked me on the yacht club yesterday. I was watching them, and they asked me. I said, "Do you see that this is a Drake luxury ship?" Well, they coined it luxury, and I just said it's touring 100%. It's a Drake touring ship. That's how I see it. There is not much else to it than that. And if you look at it on paper next to, say, some of the other, Origin ships, it lines up pretty damn close. And I said maybe not luxury comfort, because it is definitely more comfortable, but it's not luxurious. But I think it would be the one of the starting touring ships in the game. So
yeah, well, that's one of the things that certainly in the discussions that have been going forward from the web or from the video is the fact that it's more it is a starter exploration / touring ship, and so.
Yeah. So Lemming says the only plus for the Rambler is the suit locker question mark. I would say the suit locker and the extra fuel, but the thing is you're giving up half the cargo, and that makes it really, cargo is very generalized. So and the other real negative to the Rambler is because the cargo bay is smaller, you also can't put a mule in there. And I don't know if that's an unintentional side effect, but it's a pretty big one. Like when you look at the default cutter, it is that's a positive of it. Like, it almost puts it up equal with the Avenger because it can take that mule. And so when you kind of lose it all, yeah, and the Scout, the Scout kind of gets a bit of an upgrade because it gets a bigger cargo bay. So
it is a hard. I do find that harder when you're looking at the base thing, which did make the cutter such a valuable and such a popular ship. not only did it look cool, but it could also take a small vehicle. That made it a very versatile craft. And what I haven't seen is how does the exploration variant, which seems to be trodden on by the scouts, capabilities.
Technically, they're both exploration, but yeah, I get your point.
Yeah, I know. But how do you then take the Rambler and give it enough to make it valuable for the thing? You can see what it's lost, but you can't really see what's being added.
Well, it's like I said to you on the day, as soon as it goes further, it's now just competing with bigger ships. So what is the point of that? Like, you're competing with medium ships now instead of small ships. And yeah,
I have seen some discussions about where people have disagreed with that view. I can't remember their argument or viewpoint.
Well, as soon as you've got a bigger fuel tank, you're going further. So yeah, there's probably other small ships that can go just as far as the Rambler. But my point stands: as soon as you go further, what other ships can go further? Bigger ships. It's just that simple, you know. So let's look at another. The Zeus, you know, like any other explorer that has a fuel tank that can go further than it, and that's just the starting ones. You could literally say the Carrack. Because as soon as you are going further, you are competing with other larger ships. And again, I wouldn't say this thing is very well gunned. As you pointed out, it's got a glaring weak point now on the top of it. So we'll see.
Yeah, I'm torn. I do really like the look of it. I hope that the fins and things we see on the Rambler are more than just greebles. I hope that they do actually increase the maneuverability of the ship. I hope they indicate that extra maneuverability aids it when it's going through, say, jump point. I'd like to think that it's got, jump point mapping sensors and stuff, but we haven't been told that.
So like yourself, Algared, there's a first-time chatter called Sleepwalker. It says Rambler hasn't seen an increase in fuel yet, as all three are the same. Well, it will eventually, but again, you can look at it on paper and you can kind of tell. Very rarely, Algared and I can't look at the stats and the stuff on paper and tell what it's going to be. We had to do that with the Zeus, didn't we? To really compare it to the other ships.
Compare them and look at the different ships of a size scale to really start to work it out. And it was hard. What made the Zeus harder was all the other ships that people were comparing it to they were comparing to the base variant. But you look at the Zeus, and as you pointed out, there's no real base variant.
Yeah.
There's no real just straight cargo variant. It was exploration. What was it? Exploration. Exploration. Mercenary, and I can't remember the third one, but it felt like there was no real just base version, and it made it interesting. But Chris has a question.
Yep.
Chris says, since modules aren't out yet, do you think it will be easier to swap about, making ships like the Galaxy a multi-role ship, where one can say transport cargo to a spaceport and then swap it to medical? I think that's part of the process of doing modular stuff, but as you go up in size, the modules become harder to swap out. So you'd need to go to some places like Endeavour will need to go to not just a spaceport, but a proper shipyard. And that's what we don't really know where that divide is going to come. Your thoughts?
I'm going to be totally honest, and I missed the question because I was replying to someone's message.
So it's about modules and how easy they will be to swap.
So they've talked about going to shipyards or doing it in hangar, essentially. The bigger the ship, the more difficult it's going to be, essentially.
And it's that question of where that divide's going to be, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, shipyard ones will be harder will take longer time.
Like getting an Endeavour or a Kraken switched over is going to take far longer. Well, again, it's a bigger ship. It's just like cargo, essentially. Like the more cargo you have, the longer it's going to take to load or unload.
And I would imagine, like just thinking what we've said before, certainly the comparison between the Caterpillar and the Galaxy, I could imagine that swapping a Caterpillar module, if they still do the single modules, would be easier than, say, swapping a Galaxy's larger module because it's so much bigger. But we'll have to wait and see.
Lemming, if you've got the time, can you open the game? Do you have a Rambler? Has anyone that's got a Rambler confirmed that the mule? There's people saying in chat that you can fit a mule in a Rambler. I've seen videos and it don't look like it fit from what I've seen. Like it looks like it don't fit. So yeah,
I think you'll get them so that they're sitting jankily up against the ramp.
Probably jankily. Yeah, can you test it, Lemming, and see if you can get a mule in for us? I know that'll take you 10-15 minutes, but unless someone can come back, but I'm pretty sure you can't. From the videos that I've seen, put it this way: if it was putting in, it's got that ramp at the back. It would be like you said, it'd be up like that. Yeah, you could probably fit it in jank, but you can't fit it in like the other two.
And I tend to think if you're putting things in janked, you're asking to blow up.
Send us a photo, Lemming, if someone doesn't answer it before you get a chance to get in. And we'll pop it up on screen. Yeah.
So Monster AV has a question. What's your take on the new FPS tweaks? Only real issue for me was the DeMarco seems like an submachine gun rather than a light machine gun now.
Watching his stream last night, it's made Crunchy too good. No, this is all part of that weapon pass. We're going to get a similar thing on ships. We're going to get a similar thing on vehicles. This is all new, part of the development type of thing. And I am liking some of the changes. Like, it's made a lot of the guns, they were all very samey for a really long time. And so, you can look at ship, even changes like removing the shields off some of the hover bikes and stuff like that. And yeah, they're all going to start to feel independent. Like all the weapons at the moment on ships are basically, there's like, 3 different things and that's it. Cannon, repeater, ballistic, and that's it. They're all kind of the same. And now they're all going to, because of development, they had no reason to really feel any different up until this point because, that believe it or not, that's not super important to development. How a ship, there are just other priorities like that. You got to have all that foundation in before what we see of a game is probably this top layer, all these things that have to work underneath that are just out of sight and out of mind that have to work flawlessly before you can get all the pretty graphics and 3D models to work. It is ridiculous. And I think a lot of you that follow this now are learning. I think that's been the best thing about this game because it's so transparent. If you have actually kind of stuck with it, you've just learned so much. And I'll probably do a poll on this in a minute, but have you, from what you've learned about Star Citizen, you now go look at another game and you kind of go, oh, I can see why that's happening now. And it actually, I've seen other people say this to me. That's how I know it's a thing, where they've gone, oh, from what I learned in Star Citizen, I now understand why this game is struggling, or while this game is going to be garbage because they have done it in this particular way.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And I see it as also part of that balance stuff as well. You've now got the under the hood working. They've gone through that stage. Now you're in the process of, okay, let's see how they work. And so you've got the pendulum swinging backwards and forwards, and you'll go too far one way, then you'll pull it back and go too far the other way, and eventually you get them to the point where you want them to be. So I can see that aspect coming into that whole weapon balance pass as well. So yeah, but DeMarco might be acting more like a submachine gun than a light machine gun now, but over time that'll get dialed into exactly the way they want it to work, and it's just a matter of game development. It's one of those things. How many of you have played an MMO where your character class has been gone from OP to underpowered and then back up again? And man, I know with Dark Age of Camelot, my heretic was like that for ages, backwards and forwards in terms of, one time he's really good at magic, next time he's really good at combat, melee, then he's back to, and eventually they dialed him in, so he was just right. It just happens. It's just normal. Nolly Rough, Christmas in the Rough. Okay. What do you think about the Rambler having a special weapon wrap? having a special weapon rack.
It's got two of them. The other cutters have them as well.
Yeah.
So all they did was, why am I going to need 2 rocket launchers? Or, you know, take your pick. Like, it was overkill. It was like, oh, we've got this tiny little room. Let's just chuck something in there. I don't know. Why is there 2 seats with less than a meter between each other? They don't need to be there. It was just like they were trying to add things to it because they knew it was lacking, and it's just really weird.
Yeah, I can see the point of putting in the extra weapons rack. It is a larger weapons rack than the one behind the pilot, so it does give you more choice for your weapons. But
it's like you said, Algared. Why didn't they make the bed a bunk bed and make it for 2 people? Like a romance getaway camp. Well, they talked about being a camper van or an RV. Well, then why didn't they make it like an RV and have it so that it was a bunk bed and 2 people could sleep?
You want the old Aussie Sandman?
Yeah,
you know, the old panel vans with the.
Well, the jump seat all of a sudden becomes relevant because you've got to strap yourself in while the other person's flying.
Yep. Yeah, look, I'd have loved to have seen, those pull-down bunks, and have a pair of those just for an extra person, just to give you that.
Do you know what would have been really cool? Actually, is like if it was like a couch that folded out into the double bed, like a bespoke bed for the Rambler would have been mad, and it's like a
double bed,
like the couch beds.
Yeah, like it would have really been a Sandman, the old panel vans with the the mattress in the back. Yeah. Good to see some Daok fans in there. Yeah, love my Daok. Love my Daok. Love the Realm vs. Realm in Daok. That was that was so good. That was by far the bee's knees. And Guild Wars 2 tried to mimic that and copy it, and I had it kind of there, but it still didn't compare to the Daok.
Yeah.
Realm vs. Realm. But yeah, I loved my Daok.
Right, so only 2 people have voted on Twitch, so it's basically 50-50 on Twitch. But on YouTube, currently, we have 67% of people with almost 40 votes, and they're 75% now. Oh, it's fluctuating, 75-25% with 40 votes. So yeah, saying that Star System has taught them stuff and they see it in other games. So yeah, that's good. That means we've been educated.
Yeah,
and I see that as a positive.
Like I always knew game development took time. You saw that when if you ever did beta testing or that you could see that. But what we never saw was all the stuff that went before that beta testing. And that's what we've seen with Star Citizen. We've literally seen the growth of a studio. And I think that's what makes it so unique.
Algared, that there's a first-time chatter on Twitch that's using the acronyms I don't understand, so I assume he's talking to you. He says, this is the real DJ. He says, oh man, didn't expect to hear about DAOC today. Hard agree. Nothing has quite brought the same feel as the RVR did back in DAOC.
Yep, so DAOC, Dark Age of Camelot.
Oh, right,
RVR, Realm vs. Realm.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah.
So, yeah.
I had no idea.
100%.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was that was the second big MMO. First one I was Evercrack or EverQuest.
Yeah.
Hence the drug that Oldman Hurston and the beverage that Oldman Hurston and Paulie the barman serve is Evercrack, which is a drink. So
you tried a curve. I call it a drug.
Sorry.
All right. I call it a drug. I don't call it a drink. I always called it like meth.
No, it is a drink because it's mixed by the barkeep.
I almost want to do a follow-up poll. I'm just wondering. I kind of want to ask the question now. Now that you essentially feel more educated because of game development, does that inform your purchase decisions at all? Do you remember that? Like, because I know it does for myself. But I just want to know if it's done the same thing for other people as well. So yeah, you asked the next question while I figure out how to write this.
I Clever Ghost has held out train, and yes, it made me laugh. My very first encounter, my very first realm versus realm battle in Daok was going with my guild, and we were doing realm versus realm, and we got rolled by a Zerg, by I think it was a Zoo was the guild, and they just smashed for us, and I was the first one to go down. I'm like level 4 or 5, so I shouldn't have been there anyway. And I said, they just rolled over me. Where are they? I said, I'll be going up the stairs. And I'm just mush on the floor. It was, but realm versus realm in that. The keep takes, you'd literally capture keeps and take on your guild colours, and you could put extra NPCs to help guard, and such a game.
Did I miss? I think I might have missed some bits from Beer J. He did.
Mm-hmm.
He cheered 100 bits. Sorry, man. I'm not used to Twitch yet, and they don't highlight certain things, and that's not highlighted. So yeah, appreciate the bitch. Appreciates the bitch. Appreciate the bits, Bart J. But yeah, thank you.
Yeah, we're still not used to it, and I sit there watching the YouTube stream rather than the Twitch stream.
Divide and conquer.
So I actually have YouTube open in a separate window, because I can never read the screen, because you've got it on. You've been watching TV.
Yeah. I have been. There you go. That'll fix it for you. Oof! Instant. Oh, my eyes. Oh, we lost him. He'll be back in a sec. All right, I'll do a question when I come back, Algared. All right, Christine asks, saw your short on the Muro Heavy, maybe the Guardian. Do you anticipate being able to walk around in it, that ship? Do you expect it to be before 1, 2, maybe 3 players?
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe. We're hoping, because there are other heavy fighters. But yeah, I have to wait and see. There's no internal info at the moment.
There's absolutely nothing we can say apart from hopium or guessing. Just literally. It could be just a great big chunky armored thing for 2 people, like a hurricane or a Scorpius. It could be something like a Vanguard. I personally hope it's more Vanguard-y. But
have to wait and see.
Your guess is as good as ours.
Yeah. If it's got the vertical deck thing, you'd have to assume it's got some kind of internals. Otherwise, you'd have to have... Well, no, maybe it doesn't. Maybe you can... Like, if the way you load in is like in an order or something.
Could be anything like that.
It could be. It can go both ways.
And remember, you've also got MISC and by extrapolation, Mirai do use Xion tech. So
yeah,
you've got that element that could come into that ship as well. So yeah. What's your prediction for the first flyable new ship and first new drivable, rideable vehicle for 2024? Like a Coromor or Stella Fortuna, first quarter 2024?
I think we might actually kind of bring this up one thing of it, right? Because wrong thing, hang on. I can't see what I'm doing either. Give me a second.
No, I can't. But I would say what I would like to see, certainly for Coromor, which is Valentine's Day, is more dual pilot ships like the Hurricane, the Scorpius, the F7M. Those ones get the Coromor treatment, get the skin with the nose art type treatment, because they're for 2 people.
So if you look at how these have all been done in order, the sudden switch here from a repetitive pattern.
Yeah.
Right? And then 2 weapon skins.
Well, 2 weapons, not just skins.
I'm kind of hopeful that this is a vehicle of some description, believe it or not. You mentioned a bike. I almost hope this is the Pulse, but we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, look, it'd be nice if they do something like that. It certainly would make up for the time when we got the handlebars.
Yeah. And that's why I think that they might do it for that very reason.
Just to finally put to death, or be constant reminders of, by older members of the community. Because I'm sure they get it every year. But I could see them. They'll do it, and they'll still get people say, not like they gave us the pulse, not like that. Yeah, they just gave us the handlebars. It'll be that type of. But yeah, I could see a Pisces skin for that as well. I'm not sure we need an F8C skin though, Clever Ghost. Not for something like Koromor, unless you're sending someone a gift of a missile or
Right, let's have a look at this poll because the Twitch one is finished. It's only had 6 votes, but it's 50-50 again. So the Twitch polls are not coming through very well today. So we've got 52 votes. Does how a game is developed influence your purchase decisions? And that is 69%. Nice, said yes.
Yeah.
So I'll just add that, and you guys can see the data for yourselves. But yeah, I don't know. I think that's really cool how they've taught us to buy better games, if that makes sense. But yeah. So yeah.
Yeah. Oh, it certainly made me more frustrated with companies that put out a buggy game, especially if they expect their modders to then do the patches to repair such said buggy game. So not looking at any developer in particular there, but yeah.
Yeah. So are you hopeful for something big tomorrow, or do you think it's just going to be more of what we've already got?
It'd be nice to have something nice and big. Traditionally, the idea of the last day is the big one. So,
we've had other years though where it's just been very meh.
Yeah.
After the handlebar, it was a bunch of things that just more of what we already got.
Free stuff.
The other thing I'll point out though is, like, one year we got caterpillar skins. Have you noticed how the freelancer, the prospector, the vulture, we only got into medium skins? They haven't really had a large one yet.
Small and medium. But I think that makes sense.
Yeah,
most
more
people have the small ships and have the medium ships, and so a criticism in the past has been you're giving us skins for ships that we don't have. But and sometimes those skins are going to be beyond, those bigger ships are beyond an average player.
I think that's
an average player.
Clever Ghost said it's a rock, so you can mine coal.
Yeah, it's a rock. Because you've been naughty, it's a rock and it's coloured black.
No, it's rock. Rock DS would be if we were naughty. Yeah.
A rock that's coloured black, so it's coal, and it's the coal skin. Yeah. Nova 42. Are bikes the only ground vehicles that lost their shields? How do we feel about the removal of shields?
It's obviously a balanced decision, and as I said to Algared, I think I said this when we did the X1 thing. Like it all of a sudden makes distortions really relevant. I'd be running a distortion almost instantly, because yes, you're not removing the shield, but it means you're just slowing it down so much quicker, and to the point that those NX ones that I was talking to you about, Algared, they do like half damage, half distortion. They would be the sweet spot.
Yeah. And Atlas Gaming, thank you so much for that coffee donation. Merry Christmas, guys. Have a happy holiday season. Thank you. We wish you the same.
Yeah.
I look at the shields, and I was just thinking there, and taking the shields off the bikes now makes a differentiation between the vehicles that also use the vehicle components. So you've now got a differentiation between, the G12, the Rock, and those which will still have their shields versus the bikes that don't. So that becomes, as you said, a balance aspect. What you want something that's going to make a bike less than a vehicle, but then the upside is they're also faster and more maneuverable, and so you've got that yin and yang type aspect going as well. So yeah. Watlon says, awesome variant of a question that says, so just picking up that idea of put question or anything in the question that had the word question in it, and the bot will pick it up and take it to our list, which is always a nice thing. Makes life easier for us.
All right. Shem Pastor says, since CIG is working on the RSI ships, will we get a Connie update and will they make it a Dorito shape? I'll let you take the first crack at that one.
I think, yes, we are going to get a Connie update at some point. There's so much on the Connies that do need work.
Yep.
I've said it numerous times in terms of the Aquila needing a better interior to really sell that idea of exploration, labs, better living spaces, because it's a ship that's supposed to be out there in the dark. The Phoenix still needs its third turret.
Yeah.
It doesn't have it. So there is stuff that needs to get done. Do I hope they make it a Dorito? No, I hope they keep the original shape because it's an iconic ship. So you
got to remember 1,000 years of lore, and the example
Yep.
I think we can clearly give now is the Anvil Hurricane and the Anvil F8C, both by the same manufacturer, both heavy but 600 years apart.
Mm.
And when RSI's got even more of that, you'd expect even more different. Look at the difference between Ford in the 60s to now, and then take that and extrapolate that what's that, 60 years now or more, and extrapolate that over 1,000 years, and you'd expect to be more styles, not less, wouldn't you, Algared?
Now here's a tidbit I got based on RSI. So you know when they brought out the Zeus, the new Zeus, and they called it a Mark II, there was a question that said, "Hey, the Zeus Mark II contrasts with Corp using a Zeus Mark IV. What's the story here?" And the law team says, "Yeah, we missed it. You know, it slipped through the cracks." And they've actually retconned the ArcCorp law that the founders of ArcCorp didn't use a Zeus. They used an Aurora because the Aurora came out 30 years before the Zeus. Now that blows my mind because that was something I wasn't aware of at the time. Because that means the Aurora is literally a ship that was a ship for every garage, not the Zeus.
All right.
That really throws things through my mind. But yeah.
Got a first-time chatter on Twitch, Adnown, that says, what single... So normally, just so you know, Adnown, normally you put your questions with the word question in it somewhere so the bot pulls it out. But because you're a first-time chatter, we let it slide. So, Adnown, what PvE single-seat fighter for bounty missions do you buy in game if you can buy anything available? So what's a single-seat fighter that you can buy in game that you would use for bounty hunting missions, Algared?
The very first one I'd think of would be the Hawk, but it's not necessarily the toughest in terms of being able to take down some of the heavier bounties. But yeah, that'd be my first thought.
I think I'm going to cheat and say Eclipse.
Yeah, well, I know. Yeah, I know.
So the Eclipse has a massive advantage because you can just target the ship that you want and let the missile or the torpedo go from you just zoom in and let it go. As long as you're under 5 kilometers when you let that thing go, it's almost a guaranteed hit. All the other ships will start chasing you, but you can literally just let one go on a hammerhead and it will kill it. And so those 3 torps that you have, you can essentially do like 3 missions, and then just so the group missions, you can even do those and basically go back. You have to constantly go back and reload, but you're saving so much. You don't have to do any fighting. It's just let the top go and you're done. So
now,
it's a total cheat.
Admittedly, if you do start off with an Eclipse, when you do the very easy bounty missions, you're actually costing money.
Yes,
because you're not making money to replace your torpedo.
Yeah, agreed.
But down the track,
I'd say as long as you're getting 10k, you're getting your money back. You're probably losing a little, but you'd very quickly get above 10k though. So you don't have to do
once you get past those early missions, you're then making money, and then it kind of does that. You just don't want to be a bad shot and miss too many times. But yeah.
Dimako, who's also a first-time chatter, says Scorp. I think he means Scorpius.
Scorpion?
Yeah, Scorpius is not bad, but that's technically a 2-seater. So, try to put it down to an actual fighter. The Arrow's up there at the moment. The Hornet's up there at the moment. But he said bounty hunting missions, and I just can't let the Eclipse go because of is technically a single seat.
I think once we get the ones where we need to also
Mm.
take the prisoner captive, where we get the point where the you know, about talking about AI surrendering.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna win this. I can't get away. I'm surrendering.
The
What
Hawk
do you do in
is
that case?
the Hawk is a very fun ship to fly right now, though. Like
Yeah.
it you know, the EMP. It's just got a little bit of everything. It's that bounty hunting generalist, and it's not that expensive. It's just about, what is it, 1.2 mil off the top of my head in game. So yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah.
It's actually cheaper than the Hurricane. Crazy.
If we've got a bounty
Mm.
and our bounty surrenders, and we space them,
Mm.
surely that's going to be a criminal stat.
You'd have to think so, yeah.
You'd have to think that'd be like first-degree murder.
Yeah.
And so, at that point, when they surrender, where do I put them?
Mm. Yeah, I think we just lost Algared there for a second. Right. Monster Avery says, "What is your take on the Apollo's modules? Was it sold as a
ships like the Hawk will come into their own? Their ship."
Right. What was it sold as, bare ship, or will it come with some base beds, maybe an upgrade system more like the 300 series, or a proper modules? So yeah, how would you see the beds as modules in the Apollo Algared? I would have to assume that it just comes with every combo, yeah, because essentially it's 2 sets of 3s, 2 sets of 2s, and 2 sets of 1s.
Yeah, I think you've got, my understanding is you've got 2 modules, one on each side.
Yeah.
Well,
they would use the module system from a developer perspective.
Yeah.
But from our perspective, it would just be essentially be beds in your inventory, wouldn't it?
I don't know. My thought was they would make them, but you'd actually swap out the
whole
modules.
room. You're against the whole room.
Yeah. Operating theatre, you've got 2 beds, 1 bed.
Depends
3,
if I think it comes down to components. If they have different components for each bed, I could be with you on that. But again, couldn't they just be a bed that is attached to the floor?
It could be a bed attached to a floor, but when you consider a tier 1 bed, the top tier bed actually does regen. Yeah. I think there's elements there where you're going to need different components and different elements to make that work.
Again, if it's just
it's speculation.
Yeah, if it's just a machine that swaps over, I think from a developer's perspective, it literally will be a module. But for us, I think it'll just be like you're putting a different thing in your room type of thing. Again, I can go either way. I can literally see it going either way. It'll come down to game design decisions at the end. Algared, just let me know when you. There you go. He's back.
Yep.
There you go.
I think it comes down to even more than that. I think it's also a marketing factor.
Yep.
If you've got to buy the beds, or buy the module, that's more income. Do I think that
that's a pretty lowball tactic, and they never ever talked about it, did they?
No.
So you've got to assume that they never talked about it, that it's automatically going to come with it. And I think that shows that it's not modular because they didn't sell it as modular.
I'd have to go back and check and see how
they could. They could, but that's in bad taste.
I think I need to go back and look. I can't remember, and I need to have a look at how they talked about the operating theatres, whether they were talked about as modules or not. And if they're talked about as modules, then I think it leans more towards that modular aspect. Could they do an upgrade where they come with 2? Each of those operating theatres start off with 3 tier 3 beds, and then as you go down, you actually do a 300i series type upgrade and change your beds. Possibly. Could it be that we just swap them in the hangar? Possibly.
Where
we buy them in game.
Have I opened the wrong one here or not?
No, it's an Apollo. That's just the standard red.
Yeah. All right. We'll download that and have a look at that too. But yeah, it looks like they're all in the maybe in this.
Like, I know they talked about it being the clinic. And basically having 2 theatres, but I'm going on memory.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just that they would have sold it as modules, right? And because they've not sold it as modules, I just think that really speaks to it.
Modular, there you go. Medical
Modular
base, modular
life-saving
local.
tech. Innovative modular layout of the Apollo medic base promote maximum efficiency and enable tailored support to suit all levels of military patrol and emergency response operations are also supported.
So now I know modular there could be just placing the beds.
Yeah, it doesn't say modular modules; it says modular.
No.
Yeah, so it's
Yeah,
I
so it
think
could be talking about the beds. It could also
yeah,
be talking about literally taking out that. So we'll
yeah.
just have to wait and see.
I again lean to the fact that again they haven't sold modules since the Retaliator. This is true. Yeah,
And
I guess
I
it can go either way. You're probably
yeah,
right.
look, my take would be they're leaving it because they're not sure. They haven't decided how they're going to go.
Mm. But turn
Whether it's stuff
around
we buy in game, whether it's stuff.
yeah, well, you'd think they'd say in the Q&A how it comes, wouldn't you? Like you said, oh yeah, it just comes with 6 tier 3 beds or whatever. And if you want to, again, I think your and my response to this is if they do make the modules, buy them in game. Don't buy them on the website. Because they'll be very easy to earn in game, and quite honestly, they can't not put those in. Well, if they didn't put them straight into the game to earn, that would be pretty low. Making people, I've got the ship now. I got to wait another 6 months before I can buy the modules. Is pretty low, but yeah, it's my 2 cents.
I could see, as Monster Avery suggested, an upgrade system like on the 300i system. Where you could kit it out to your liking. That could be a thing as well. But again, I do think you'd be better off buying those modules or buying the beds in game because I can't see a tier 1 bed, the top tier bed being as much as a ship. And unfortunately, if you buy it in the store, I could see it being quite expensive in comparison. So,
okay,
Jason Poovey.
hang on before we go ahead.
Okay.
We've got some Lemming sent us some photos of the Rambler. They're a bit dark, but you can see here, and he's managed to get it in there.
But the wheels are sticking out.
Well, it does poke out, yeah, and the wheels are poking out as well. So,
and it was sitting on the when you showed the first picture, you could see it sitting on the ramp itself to be in. So
Lemming, what's your official take on it? Does it fit or not fit from your 2 cents, Lemming? Let us know in Twitch because I can see what you're saying there. But yeah, to me, you could argue it fits, but I would call it loose cargo at that point. I don't know about
I'd
you,
call it loose cargo, and that to me that bounce, that clipping through is going to be doing damage.
And in a small ship like that too.
And eventually that clipping will cause kaboom.
Yep. And not to mention, you've literally got components left and right.
Okay, Space Tomato, you need to join us today.
Yeah, come on,
I'm
Space.
sorry.
It's Christmas, man.
It is the Christmas stream.
Yeah.
We even gave you a warning last week.
Yeah.
Come on. Join us. Camera one.
Space.
Camera one. Mrs. Tomato, join us as well.
Yep.
You can just be on voice if you like.
I still think
or
so.
Join us
you know that riddle. Yeah. So Lemming saying it doesn't fit. I sent that riddle that I sent you to Space, and he couldn't get it, and they said go ask Honey, and I think Honey got it straight away. I don't know.
Yep.
That's my feeling. So yeah.
Now I did have a.
Hang on. Let me read out that. I'll read out the riddle real quick. Here goes. So this is what I asked Space Tomato. I also asked Algared this as well. It goes, this is a riddle. I'm the beginning of eternity, the end of space and time, the start of every end, and the end of every place. What am I? Hold it in your head for a minute, and then I'll ask you to put it in chat in a minute. Just give people a minute to think before you chuck it in. I
did open a cracker because I was going to put on a Christmas paper hat, but it was just too small. But as with all crackers, there's a dad joke.
Yeah.
So, what do you get if you eat Christmas decorations?
Sorry, say that again?
What do you get if you eat Christmas decorations?
Kris Kringle or something? I don't know.
Tinselitis.
Ugh, so bad.
It made me groan, but it also made me chuckle.
Hey, Night Watch, Night Watchers on Twitch. Hey.
Hey, Night Watch.
Oh, that was terrible.
Yes, I know it was.
Yeah, they're very bad, and some of the ones like the cheaper the cracker gets, the language even bends. So you're like they're written by like a Chinese person or something, and they're just like really bad.
All your base belong to us.
Yeah, type of thing. So yeah. Right. So yeah, put your answers into that riddle. You've got it. I think someone already posted it. I did see someone put the answer, and then they deleted it. So if you know what it is, check your answer in now. And see, yeah. Right.
All right. So Jason Poovey had a question. Why do you think they made the Rambler lose the ability to carry a mule? Well, we think it can't carry a mule anyway. Well, couldn't carry a mule anyway. That was one of the best reasons to use a cutter over a Titan. Yes.
Yeah.
And that was one of the things we struggled with as well.
Yeah. It just, I don't know. It would have been really, I don't know. The more I look at it, they keep saying it's an RV, the more I think it would have been like this cool little camper van. It does look like a camper van, like they said. And it would have just been really cool to have like a couple's retreat vehicle, you know? So you go away for the weekend, you have a small, would have been a really cool thing if you could have fit a dragonfly in the back so you could, you know, that it fits two people, that you know, the holiday away from home, and a double bed. I know that sounds stupid, but people are going to role play in this game. And again, when you say touring, every time I look at touring, that is a role play thing to me. And would that not be a perfect thing to get in? You know, you have your virtual girlfriend or whatever, and you've seen it in other games, so you can mock it all you want. Might not be your thing, right? But they get in, they go out, you know, oh, let's go to Microtech for the weekend. You know, you go to Microtech and you have a little camping, crack out a barbecue. Let's get on the Dragonfly and go for a drive round.
Yep.
So many people would have used that. That I can get behind. But just another ship that they've just turned it into another 100i. Like it's lost its only unique appeal now is it's a Drake touring ship. That's it. That's its whole stick.
Yeah, it's a Drake luxury ship.
Yeah.
Drake's take on luxury. And yeah.
Thank you for the
and when you compare it to 100i, I think the 100i has better cargo and it's smaller profile.
Actually, it's got the same. It's got the exact same cargo. It just doesn't do the vehicle thing, but now it can't do a vehicle. Mick Gold Ember, thank you for the basic membership.
I was about to say that.
Yep.
Thank you for joining us on YouTube as a member. Awesome. Don't forget, you can you should be able to link your membership from YouTube to our Discord and get your membership access or your Discord profile, whatever.
Lemming just reminded me of something from last night. So he says, don't judge me, I want a Zion girlfriend. So I thought of Turtles, and then I thought of Ninja Turtles, and then I thought of the movie I watched last night. There's a really cool kids movie with Adam Sandler at the moment called Leo. I watched it last night. Very surprisingly good. It's very kid orientated, right? But if you've got kids, go watch Leo with them because it was actually quite good. I enjoyed it. And Bill Burr's in it as a turtle. There's a whole bunch of cool people in it. And as a teacher, it's about so I'll tell you the premise of it. It's basically this essentially an iguana and a turtle that live in a terrarium in a school. And the teacher is having a baby, so they bring in a substitute teacher, and all of a sudden they have to take the pets home, and all of a sudden, and this guy's like, he's about to turn 75, so he thinks he's about to die or whatever, and he starts talking to the kids, and it changes everything. That's the premise. I'll leave the rest up to you, but yeah, I'd like to get your take on it because it's a teacher thing. So. Anyway, that's my tangent for today.
Okay. Carl Smith. Is it more likely that a Kraken Dragonfly Bay is changed to something more useful? Or that we see the usefulness of a Dragonfly expanded to warrant a dedicated bay in the Kraken?
So it's not actually just a Dragonfly Bay. It actually says other vehicles.
Yeah, I when I looked at it, I thought, P-52, P-72 hangar. Dedicated for snub ships, or the Mirai Fury hangar.
It does say vehicles, it doesn't say ships. So I would say it's like a bike, or
Yeah.
maybe I wouldn't say an Ursa, but maybe like a grey cat or an STV or something like that.
Yeah, I looked at that because I thought, the fact that the Dragonfly did that crossover ship between vehicle and snub ship. But that was my original take. And even if you are looking at Dragonfly, having half a dozen or even four or five, even four Dragonflies come out and assist in a defense of a Kraken, that's four extra size 1 lasers that they can be hunting down torpedoes. They can be harrying a fighter. Just the extra swarm of ships. If you've got the crew to fly them, then man, it's just extra trouble for someone trying to blow you up. So,
Just replying.
Red Samurai.
Yeah.
Unless you.
No, I was just replying to Space. He shot me a message.
Okay. Yeah, Space is being a slacker. He's not joining us.
He tends to want to go out for food straight afterwards, so him and Honey tend to head straight out
Yep.
for food. So
I know. But all right, Red Samurai, what ship do you think they will work on after the Polaris? Big ship? Question mark?
So they actually stated what they were going to work on next. It went Polaris, Galaxy, Perseus, wasn't it?
They said they're working on those as a family, and then they were asked what do they work on after that, and they said we've had discussions, but we haven't decided. So I would say look for a manufacturer that's got a family. So it's possible, we've got a Gatak in the Sulian and a Gatak. Oh no, the Sulian's already out.
I think we went over this.
Yeah.
And the closest we could find that had the biggest lineup, and whether there's obviously exceptions to this, was Misk. They had the most. But that doesn't mean that they can't just go,
no,
we want to make this, and then they just announce 3 ships for it. They could do that if that's what they want to do. We know Anvil's meant to have a heap of these ships, so I've always got the feeling the reason why we haven't seen a lot of Anvil, and I think you'd agree with me on this, Algared, is because their ships are probably better, so to speak. They've left them towards the end. It's something that me and Algared have talked about since years ago. There was just a running theory, and it has relatively become true, that they would do the large ships, then the small, then the medium, and the large in the middle, because they were the more better versatile ships. And then on top of that, the later a ship came out, if you think about it, they were always talking about how they were going to increase the prices of ships, right? Those medium and large ships were always going to come at the end because they were kind of more universal, and those better ones would come because they can make more money on them. As they said, over time, they'll sell them for more.
Yeah. People are saying Aegis need love, suggesting the 600i.
That said, Aegis has a lot of ships. I'll go open that ship image and you can see it very quickly.
And yes, I agree. The Crucible, I'd love to see the Crucible, but not until they get repair working. Given that we've got salvage working now, I can see repair kind of working in tandem with that. So I look forward. I live in hope.
So again, don't take scale into account here, because obviously if it was just scale, but look at how all the ones from Anvil are just tiny little things. Now, the thing that makes this hard as well, and I did talk to Grim about this, is he has put in every variant. So there is just like 3 versions of the Pisces. So you kind of have to can it manually a little bit to get the there's obviously 2 Valkyries and things like that as well. But if you start to count them individually, you realize pretty quickly that there's a lot of small ships from Anvil. So we need some bigger ones. But yeah, you've got a lot of I don't know, maybe I'm a bit wrong there with the number of Aegis ships. Maybe they are getting a bit unparalleled Algared. Like if I cut out the
It certainly used to be, it was Aegis Anvil, and it was not another Aegis Anvil ship. Not another Aegis Anvil ship. But I think that may have shifted just looking at the ships.
Yeah, maybe I'm wrong. Looking at it like this, even us can learn things, you see, so yeah.
It certainly used to be the case.
RSI's
don't have a fighter.
RSI's getting up there too now. Kind of meaty. Lots of, medium large ones in there now.
Mm.
So I'd say definitely on the large side, the only other one's kind of like Crusader, but like look, 3 of them are the same thing. But it's interesting.
I'd certainly, as much as people will talk about Anvil having lots of small ships, I'd say Origin is also
Yeah, Miss
loaded with small ships because it's got the 85X, the 85X, I've gone blank, dear me. The 100i, the 300, or those 3 ships. Just to me, just
Origin's still fairly small though. Like it's kind of funny. You put Origin next to Facade Outland, they're
yeah.
not.
But when you're looking at the small ships,
Mm.
the fact that you got snub ship, almost snub ship, then a fighter, it just, that's just my take. But yeah,
makes me wonder if we're eventually going to get like Nomad variants or something. Looking at that, but
yeah, one day.
Well, it's one of the only advanced starters that doesn't have variants. If you think about it, Reliant, Avenger, 300, it's the only one.
Yep. Eventually we'll get them.
We'll see.
Red Samurai. What ship do you think? Oh, no, just done that one. That's the one we were just discussing. Clever Ghost. When do you think we'll see the next set of big ship releases when they're done?
I think that's kind of more of a...
When they finish the RSI ships.
When they've got more people that are working on ships. Like, it was always a thing. That's why you've not seen a lot of large ships come out. They were kind of working out the families. They were, working on ships that were more one-off. So, like, if you look at Origin ships, they are clearly a lot more one-off than some of the others. And if you know what I mean by that, I mean like they're a little bit like the Banu ships where they're very organic and stuff. So they don't really have as much of a style guide. They are like one-off bespoke pieces of art, so to speak, where when you look at the RSI series, you can see that they've got panels. So when they've got panels, they can duplicate things and speed up the process and things like that. And Origin don't have that. They are very much in a similar creative vein until the aliens. So yeah. But yeah, you're essentially waiting for more people to come along, so they had more ships, so they can go, right, these individuals go work on smaller ships. These teams can now, people cohesively working as a team, and that's why you're seeing them now talk about the Polaris being that they would have used the Polaris as a test bed to teach an entire team how to build a ship together. And that's why they're going to go straight from that onto the Galaxy, straight from that onto the Perseus. And I have no doubt whether if it's another RSI ship or another ship, that same team learning what they have learned will move on to working on another ship. And I think you'd agree with me on that, yeah?
Yeah. So the next question from Jay Beck is, should hot countries celebrate Christmas? There is clearly something wrong with it.
I think
every country should celebrate Christmas.
I think countries in the up over should start talking more globally. If I hear someone say summer 2029 or whatever again, I'm going to get really annoyed because I have to sit there in my head and go, well, I live in the southern hemisphere. So is that, again, if you say Q1 through to Q4, I know or the month even, I know what you're talking about. But if you pick a season, you instantly rule out 50% of the Earth. So it's very... I don't know. Hemispherist? I don't know how else to want us to call that. But yeah, that's...
Yeah, hemispherist.
We have to get used to converting things. And the other one is when they call it fall. Now, I know what fall is. I've got no problem with that, but it falls under the same thing. As in it's a season. So don't use seasons because that just instantly cuts half the Earth off.
You're better off using quarter.
Yeah.
If you're talking globally.
Well, even month.
But in terms of should anyone celebrate Christmas, technically it's a religious holiday. It is the Mass of Christ, Christmas.
And
but we've also commercialized it.
And in the opposition of what I said, it was also based in a location. It was based in Jerusalem and all that type of stuff. So it does work. You're celebrating what happened in that particular location.
Yeah,
even though you live in another part of the event. Yeah, even
rather than
another part of the world.
Should we be celebrating Christmas as in, the man in the red that's a theme. So you'll see Australians will sometimes get the spray-on spray and put it around the windows and all the other stuff. But you'll also see our Christmas celebrations have changed. So a lot of Australians will have seafood Christmas dinners or
Santa
Christmas on the beach, or they'll do their celebration outside.
Santa with a surfboard or something, or is in the wife beater or something like that. They've changed it up.
So
made it more our own.
They countries should take a bent or change the decor of its celebration to suit them. But
he's even in different countries. He's called different things. Like he's called Noel or Saint Nick or whatever. Like everyone's got their own spin on it. Just make it your own.
So it is just a matter of changing it to suit the environment. Should you celebrate the event? Yeah, absolutely.
Arthur Vendelay, thank you for the $8 on Super Chat. He gave us a sticker of a fox.
Yep, always appreciated, never expected, but always, always humbling. Nova 42, just telling someone to remember to put the word question in a question so that the bot picks it up, which means we can come back to questions that were put at 5:20 and still answer them. Which is, yes, Barbie as in barbecue. Yes, we're using Australian slang there. Birdie says, hi gents, Dragonfly Nox X1, which will be the best bike for the Daymar Rally? The one that doesn't blow up when it hits a rock?
My brain actually goes to, in the final game, if you look at the stats like on paper stuff, the Dragonfly is the 4x4. So if you're out off-road, Dragonfly. If they eventually move the Daymar Rally to be along roads or anything like that, because rallies are traditionally raced on roads, aren't they, Algared? They're not raced in the open. Then it would move to more of one of the road bikes. So things like the Ranger would work. I wouldn't assume the street bikes like the Nox or the X1 would be. I have to really think about this.
I would love to see a rally where you actually need your navigator to, you actually need a second person to actually navigate until you turn right, and like you see on rallies as well.
50 right, maybe. I always love that one in that game. 50 right, maybe.
So Patrick, I keep thinking of SpongeBob. I know. About the Polaris, they made the hangar bigger. Would it mean we can also fit size 2 Scorpius with folded wings inside the hangar bay? Or fit 2 Scorpius, sorry.
No.
So fit 2 Scorpius. No, it'll fit one.
Again, it's this fits it sits things, right? So you can fit it, but you might not be able to service certain things, right? So it's like the classic one is the 890 jump, right? You can fit, I think I've even seen people put a freelancer in there at one point, right? But you can fit some fairly big ships in there, but it's designed to service 2 size 1 ships or 2 snubs, right? And it's the same thing with all those pads. They're designed to service a size 2, right? So an S2. And so basically I think the Terrapin fits in there. And it was originally a bespoke and it was meant to be 14. I believe the ship they talked about was the Sabre originally. And I now think they've gone to metrics. And when they went to metrics, that's why the hangar changed. And from the height of it, Algared, I don't know, you tell me if you think different, but it looks very much like at the moment that it can only close over the height of some ships, but other ships will be able to be land and get service, but they won't be able to be carried in it. That's what I'm seeing. It's a little bit like what I expect them to do with the Crucible.
Yeah, and I think that will be similar to what we find with the relationship. The
Odyssey. I think the Odyssey is different again because it's got a very deep hangar.
Yeah, but I was thinking of the Carrack. Sorry.
Right. Yeah.
So the Carrack used to have a problem. I'm not sure if it still does. That the 100i wouldn't fit because when its landing gear was down, you couldn't close the top. Whereas you could say get an Aurora in there, even though it technically shouldn't have fit, but you could get it in there and it was lower and you could close the hangar because it's that lower.
Well, something you and I talked about too would be a nice thing to have if they actually made the carrick eventually to metrics. Now, I don't think they will because it's a lot of like it's essentially a rework, but it'd be a bloody nice to have. Like say they come back and make a carrick 2.0, like they've talked about when they update chips and stuff.
Yeah.
That would be a nice thing to have. Oh yeah, we finally put it to metrics or whatever.
Put the snub hanger to metrics, and so any snub would fit. And that would be a nice thing.
That ship does need some extra work because I think they talked about putting a second entry point in as well. Where that'll be, I don't know. Well, technically there is a second entry point, but it's on top. So from the ground, it probably needs a second one. So yeah.
Mark Razor, will there be something special in the last day of Luminalia?
Yeah, we talked about
Your
that.
guess. We'd like to hope so. Yeah. It'd be nice if there was.
Yeah. Never say never, but like again, other years has been next to nothing, and then some years they've had some really good things. I just don't think they ever want to have a repeat of the handlebar. But yeah,
I'm gonna say on YouTube, guys, play nice.
Yep.
That's all I'll say.
I've got to get Lemming over to YouTube to put someone in the corner. You boys are in trouble with Lemming, Roxanne.
Yeah. Lemming turns up, you know you're in trouble.
A ban hammer. Yeah, it's Christmas. Come on.
Yep. Play nice, guys.
I don't know what it's like in the up over at this time of year, but when summer hits, me and Algared always try and be as nice as possible because when the heat gets to us, we get very frustrated very quickly. Me and Algared are the most moody in the heat, so we're try to be very aware of it. So
yeah, we do. I think we probably snap at each other more in summer.
Yeah,
and it literally is just the heat just makes it absolutely at times unbearable.
But also, they're all talking in a text-based medium, and you know what I think about text-based mediums? They're very cold because everyone's very short-handed, so everyone gets grumpy very quickly. Because you
can't tell whether it's a joke or so much is lost in text-based, especially when you can't.
One thing we do here, and I said it last time people were arguing too. I'll make people get in a voice chat to solve that issue. So yeah, if you're having a fight, I'll put you in a voice chat because it just removes it straight away.
A voice chat does often. It takes away a bit of the animosity. Being anonymous.
Oh, being anonymous.
Being anonymous, not the hate, but it does take the hatred away as well. I'm just getting tongue tied.
It's fine.
So when you can't be anonymous, you tend to be more polite and the rest of it. Whereas if you can hide behind your name or hide behind a tag and not be on voice, people tend to be less forgiving. And anyway, the Worku says, are you guys aware that you are able to shoot in armistice zones? Oh, it's always going to be a case.
Yeah.
So you just get crime stats and nasty things happen to you. Hopefully. Human Evil 51 says, the biggest one I had was the game crashing in the launcher. That was my first experience. Game crashing on main menu, crashing on the loading in your bed. Me and others I know had these issues for years and at least reported it every patch. And that's what you got to do. And they keep working on it. And the problem is sometimes they'll fix something and then a new patch comes out and it breaks again. So, yeah. So, it's annoying when you do get the errors and the bugs and things that stop you playing the game. That would be answering that question you asked earlier about what are some of the bugs that are game breaking. And yes, those are game breaking bugs, the ones that literally stop the gameplay. But yes, worst bug I had was where you'd log into game and you had unless you had a friend, you couldn't log in, you couldn't join off them. And you had to, you needed to join off a friend, otherwise it just wasn't working because nothing else showed. And that was a bug that CIG hadn't seen and hadn't been able to replicate, I do believe. from memory, because you had to send it to them.
Give me a sec. I'll be right back. What are you doing? All right, you there?
Waiting for it. Yep.
Sorry.
Yep.
No, cat opened the door. The door open. Sorry.
So yeah.
Right. Next one.
Carl Smith has a question. Follow-up to the whole Dragonfly Kraken Bay situation. So given the Dragonfly Bay's location atop the Kraken, how would a Dragonfly re-enter the bay when the Kraken is landed on planet where hover bikes are most useful? And I think it's that location of that Kraken Bay hangar on top of the ship rather than down that makes me hope that it's snub ships as well. But how would you get it in? I would imagine tractor beams and lifts and other things will do that. So we'll wait and see.
Yeah, ramps, lifts, and again, dragonflies technically can fly, so can't you just enter via the top as well?
I don't know.
Citizen Scott says, have either of you seen snow in real life? Yes.
Yes. It snows here about once every 15 years, and it's actually snowed twice in the last 5.
Yep. First time I saw snow was on a school camp. We took our kids to the snow mountains at a period when it wasn't supposed to snow, and the winter snows had come early, and so there were snow drifts everywhere. But the most snow I've seen was at Yosemite National Park, and that looked very Christmassy. And so I can't say I'm dreaming of a white Christmas like the ones I've never known, because I've known one at Yosemite National Park.
So it's really interesting. I can't talk about it for mainland Australia, but in Tasmania, the global warming's having a really weird problem, and it's actually a positive. I know this is going to sound really rude to say, with everyone talking about environmental stuff, but our winters are warmer and our summers are cooler in Tasmania. And this is in the last decade, and so it's not snowing as much usually. But then there's outliers. Like I said, it snowed twice in the past 5 years when it's usually a once every 15-year event. So,
Shampasta, what are your thoughts on master modes? Some in the community are saying it's too slow and it gets boring, or once you are targeted, you're done for.
I also think they also talked about increasing the time to kill, and it's still fairly low.
I think when you're targeted, that's what chaff's for. That chaff cloud breaks targeting, and then you, hopefully you can run away.
Yeah, or you're going to have time to move in such a way that they can't get straight back onto you.
Kragon, do we have any information about what working armor lockers are waiting on? Would it potentially be part of the further cargo updates coming with hangars, elevators?
Same thing that's holding everything up, Squadron 42.
Yeah, it could be any number of things holding up. Could just be.
And what type of priority is that? I would say it's a lot further down the totem pole than some other things. So, 19 Crossbone 85. Thank you for the subscribed at tier 1. Thank you.
Thank you. Voodoo Child says, "Thank you for your efforts and help to the community. Have yourselves a wonderful holidays, or have you a wonderful holidays." Typos there, but hey, I know what you mean. Thank you, Voodoo. I hope you have a wonderful Christmas and break as well.
Likewise.
Two Town Scott says, "Will Star Citizen players have a first test of Squadron 42? I'm looking forward to that."
That's a tough one.
Will Star Citizen players have a first test of Squadron 42? I would imagine that, if anything, it'd be Squadron 42 backers would have that access, and yet I don't want it. And it's a catch-22. I want it and I don't want it.
Yeah,
because I've played.
I think as soon as they release it to anyone, the cat's kind of out of the bag.
Hmm.
And
Like,
well, you put it this way: there's going to be gameplay videos. There is no way they can do that. We've heard things in the background that they've hired a company to QA test it and stuff like that as well. So, and if you think about it from hindsight, like you said, that's how I'd kind of prefer it. So I've got that more polished experience when I go to play it. You tell me, Algared, how would you feel if you were playing it the same time as anyone that can walk into a shop and buy it at retail, as an example?
Wouldn't bother me.
Yeah, wouldn't bother me at all.
Like I played Lotro as a tester, and I went through levels 1 to 10 half a dozen times. Yeah. I went through all of did all the quests and all the stuff in Brie, and up to the last in. And when I came into playing the game for real, it was like, oh, I've got to do this again.
Yeah.
I don't really want that experience again. I want to be able to play Squadron 42 and enjoy it.
Yeah.
And get that wow as I'm going through the places for the first time. But I also want to be able to do it.
The only way you could get around that is if they basically did like the vertical slice approach, or what they do in some other games where they release the first level and then you can continue playing that once that's out. So if they got it up to maybe, I don't know, certain time period early, and we basically just get a sneak peek demo. So if you're a backer, you could basically get to play the first level or first mission early,
But then, like I look at Lotro. Lotro did, you played the first 10 levels in their beta testing. And at that point there was, I think, 50 levels. So
there's been many games that have done that. Was it SOTOR did that as well? Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic. You could. I think I played that through to level 25 or 6 times, and tried out all the classes to learn which class I wanted to play. Many games.
The one thing I've got to say with Lotro, not Lotro, Star Wars: The Old Republic, is when you did the different character classes, the stories, even though they were the same, they dovetailed, they were different, and they all dovetailed together to tell you to give you a whole overarching lore story, which was quite nice. So I'm kind of torn. I do want to play it early, but I also don't want to play it early. But I think one of the problems, if they do it with Star Citizen players, is that leaks will happen, and I think we're going to see them tightening up on the whole leaks issues and trying to and I think that when they do that, that's part of the reason why.
I can tell you right now that that's not the case. There is very much an agreement with the leaks community to not share anything about Squadron 42, to the point that Chris himself emailed certain people. So I very much doubt you'll see. They literally said you can leak the ships and all that to the cows come home, but we don't want you to leak anything about Squadron 42. So, and that's the agreement they have. So it's an understanding with the man himself. And I think you'll find that they are very passionate people at leaks, right? Much like ourselves and most people in this game. And they do it out of a drive for more information, but they don't want to spoil it for themselves or anyone for that matter. So yeah.
Teodam Dowitdamto. I butchered that name. I kind of missed this year's event. Did we get to hear any new info about the RSI Galaxy work progress? No, we didn't.
No, we did not. Other than that, it's going into development after the Polaris, and the Polaris will be sometime next year. Hopefully Invictus. That's my fingers crossed.
So it is 702X, and we are doing a giveaway.
Yeah, we'll do.
So we should at least do one of those.
I did have a thing for this, and I've damn closed it. Let me see if I can find it. Just give me a minute, Algared.
I'm just letting you know that we are, we're moving on. Yes, looks like we've got at least a page or
You're
two
gonna
to
have to
go.
get down, Darwin. There you go. All right, that's gonna work.
So while you're looking for that, I'll pull up the next question.
Please.
So Byron Dunning says, "Okay, dudes, what can you tell us about the new heavy fighter? And have a brilliant Xmas and a fantastic New Year."
Not
Well,
much.
all we can tell you about the new heavy fighter is it's from Mirai,
That's it.
and it looks big compared to the scale we could see. That's it. Can't tell you anything more because we don't know. Bertie G says, "My question is purple, so I lost." No, your purple's not. Your question is purple. It gets done in the order that they come in.
Yeah.
Nothing to do with the color being winning or losing. It just tells us you're on Twitch. And see, Birdie, we even spent a few minutes talking about your comment about your question is purple, so you lost. No, you didn't lose. So there you go. Tom Van Duren, do you guys think the mech recharge module for the Retaliator will be in when the rework drops? It says it will be on. It will be on the concept that it will be a module also. Thanks for a nice holiday.
Yeah, I do think. I think Retaliator is now the test bed for modularity. Yep.
And when that module with the when that module with the mech recharge unit is in, I would expect there'll be mechs. If there are no mechs, then it'll be a suit recharge for a heavy armor or something like that. Your guess is as good as mine. But I'd hope if there's a mech recharge module there, that we'll have mechs that can plug into it. If not, then do we need it working if the mechs aren't in? But yeah. But I know that module also has jumpsuits and armor racks and other stuff. So yeah.
All right. So we're gonna give away the Fury first, and it's gonna be the first person to answer this riddle. So here we go. Ready? You ready, Algared?
Yeah.
All right. There's no exclamation giveaway. We don't do it like that. We do it differently. So this is a riddle, and it's the first person to get the correct answer in either chat. I'll wait till Algared comes back.
Yep.
All right, he's back. All right, cool. Here we go. I live without food, wound without force. I am harder to fight than to kill. What am I? And we're just waiting for the first correct answer.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm hopeless at riddles. As I said, if it's not in Tolkien, I don't know it.
Yep, Colin got it. Colin was the first, and that was on YouTube. All right, Colin, reach out to me on Discord, and I will. And the person straight after Colin got it as well. It was time. So yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, no point repeating it because I guarantee someone will get it before you, bud. Sorry, mate. Yeah, so reach out to me via Discord and I'll get that sent away to you. We've still got the next one to go as well. So, and I'll do another riddle for that one as well. We'll see. I got one already picked out there.
Yep.
Right.
So Benjamin Spires, what are your current thoughts on the Pioneer as far as value, either in general or compared to the current next biggest construction-capable ship, the Galaxy? I probably think the Pioneer is still the best construction ship we're going to have.
Those really big buildings, yeah.
How does it go for value?
Yeah.
I think just like any of those big capital ships, if you're interested in owning one, buy it before it's in game, because the in-game cost is going to be, you're going to be grinding.
Not to mention the rep or the you know, they're designed for orgs to earn, you know, and
So
having a big ship like that and rocking up to an org and they don't have one or they only have one and you can provide a second, it's going to be a big thing.
Or you know, or do the construct or hire out to an org so you can actually do that. But yeah. But if you're someone who's going, oh, you know, I'm not really interested in construction. Should I buy the ship? And probably not.
So, Blitzcall says mechs would be cool. He's a first-time chatter. I'd buy one if they release the concept one. Yeah, they're calling them Titan suits in Star Citizen, but they're coming. Give it time.
I'm still looking forward to Ripley's power loader.
Yep. Likewise.
And I know early on I did suggest that as being something, possibly even being the snub ship. But it has to be a snub ship because I did say it was a ship. So, Salty Dog, do you know if the RXI Galaxy module, cargo, medical, etc. will be in buyback if melted?
Yes.
I believe so.
Yes, it will. But if the price goes up while it's in buyback, it will go up in price too.
Yeah. Same as everything. Soul Galaxia says, isn't the Zeus CL the cargo variant? Yes, the CL would be a cargo variant. So what's the one that's but it's an enhanced cargo variant, not a base variant. So that's the problem for Zeus. It wasn't really just a base nothing variant. Whereas all the others.
Yeah, there's no real default variant of the Zeus. That was what took me and Algared a little while to figure out.
Yeah, so you look at the Freelancer. You got the Freelancer, which is the base variant. Then you've got the Freelancer Dual, which is the exploration variant. You've got this Freelancer Max, which is the cargo variant, and then you've got the missile variant, which is the light BMR. You go to the other variants, the other ships in its size, and you've got a similar situation, and that's what we were. That was the thing we were talking about, but with no real base variant to really compare them. You had to go to the upgraded variants to see how it went. But thank you. Yes, that is correct. The CL is a cargo variant, and I misspoke when I was talking earlier. JL, do you guys believe CIG may require vehicles to be locked down and properly attached to a cargo grid for transport? Yes,
absolutely.
And if you don't, then you're risking bouncing around and blowing up.
And I reckon there will be some ships that specialize in loose cargo, but again, if you don't have that thing to lock them down, then you're going to have to be extra careful coming in and out of atmosphere and things like that, and you won't be doing loop-the-loops and
and rolls and well, unless you don't care about your passengers or your cargo or your ship interior. But yeah. And that's going to have an impact on, if you're engaged by pirates, you're not going to be able to do those evasive maneuvers as you might if you're got cargo locked down or you're unladen, so yeah. A Shinobi Trip, weren't we supposed to see the PTV rework this year? When do you think we might see the new PTV versus the UTV? When it's done.
Oh, the UTV. Yeah, we were meant to see the UTV this year. That's true. I did say that to you about a month ago, didn't I?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Eventually, it's obviously been put on the back burner. It's doing an X1. It'll come when it's needed.
Look, would you rather PTV and UTV be pulled out, which are just vehicles, or would you rather them work on something bigger and better?
Yeah.
It'll get done. Just
priority order and Algared and I are both not in a rush to see anything come out anymore because the more time they take on things, the better they become. And look at how many things that have come out now that have had to be redone because they were. I'm not even saying they were rushed out, but like the earlier they come out, the less refined they've been.
Yeah, well, look at the Connies. The Connies have been done 2 or 3 times, and there's still issues with them. So, yeah. So, hi, Batari. Now, Batari, you just remember to be a good boy and make sure you fill your work contract commitments with Hurston, and that'll make me a very happy old man. So, just in YouTube, someone greeting old man Hurston, so old man Hurston giving a greeting back. Clever Ghost, have you noticed some minor graphical improvements for the last couple of patches? FPS improvements, lighting changes, cleanup, textures, etc. We certainly did notice that with the Freelancer when we were going through. The lighting passes in there were quite nice. But yeah,
Sorry, I'm doing two things at once.
Yep.
Yes.
I like that
So
comic pen.
I got a new monitor last week, and I was actually I might be able to bring it up on stream. Just give me 2 seconds. And I was looking at this with John Citizen yesterday, and I'll show you these two images, and you can actually because I didn't have a HDR monitor to test it with up until now.
Yep.
And so this is I'll switch it over now. Just give us a sec. I've got a cat in my lap, obviously.
Yep.
So this is without HDRI, right? And this is with HDRI. So it's just got what I would call a more natural light. That actually looks sunny and warm. And that, because it's kind of cut off the sun, it just doesn't flow the same way. Like it doesn't know that the light kind of bends a bit and bounces and stuff. And that's what I think it does. It just naturally
and that has that more. The light is fading as it comes in rather than just being cut off. Yep. So yeah, it's quite a nice nice change back.
Yeah. So yeah, it's just softer, but even things in the background, like you can see the signs in the background are better lit and they're clearer. Where if I go to the other one, they kind of just fade. And it's exactly the same sign with the same image on it and everything. The only one that changes is this "We've got you covered" thing. But the other one, I actually went back and checked it, and it's I didn't think it would be a big difference, but it's a subtle difference, but it makes a big difference.
I like the way the 19 is actually still in bright light, so you can't really see it, but you can see the light is fading rather than just being cut off. Those types of things are quite nice. I did like 10's comment about the tied in with the cargo grid type stuff question. And he says, "My crew will be shaken, not stirred."
Oh, dear.
I don't know. I've noticed that in Australia we seem to, around this time of year, they seem to put on all the James Bond movies on the TV. So it's always quite a novelty to kind of see that. Anyway, Nova 42. What differentiates the RVR from PvP to just calling RVR and not PvP? So what was different? Realm versus PvP. You didn't fight against your realm. You fought against other realms. And in Daok, there were 3 realms. There was Albion. I can't remember the other 2 because I didn't play the other 2. There's a Viking one and a kind of a Norse. So there's a Norse version and a kind of a kind of Celtic branch. And then there was the Albion, Midgard, and Hibernia. Thank you, Kragon. And when you met them, if my mate was on his Hibernia character and we met up, we could type in chat. Couldn't understand it. It didn't matter. If we weren't on voice, we couldn't communicate. So that was nice. But yeah, it just meant you knew who your allies were. Basically, your realm was your guild, was a big guild. But yeah, it was great. It was, and then you'd fight for your realm. You'd on realm versus realm section. There was outposts and keeps. So each keep had about 6 or 7 outposts around it. You'd buy and they were little forts. You capture them, take them over for your own personal guild. If you took over the keep or the castle, then all the outposts kind of changed as well. It was just such a great thing. Unless you've done it, I know Kragon's going to get this. Unless you were doing that, it just doesn't compare. Even Guild Wars 2 doesn't match up. It was just yeah, and there were relics as well, so you had to capture the relics, and if you captured the 3 relics, then you got boosts. So each realm had a relic, and you could capture the relic and then put it in one of the castles, and that a target for other realms to try and get. Yes, you could even have longboats and big boats that travelled along the rivers. It was just I'm gushing, and that's an old game. and I don't think I don't think I've come across a game that did the realm versus realm gameplay as good as not Guild Wars, as Dark Age of Camelot. Haven't come across a game that has come close, and even their crafting was different. So you could imbue it, you can enhance it, you could, so you get 3 different levels. It was just, yeah.
I'm trying to set up a bit of a camera here because this cat is very cute right now.
And I'm just...
And I'm struggling
and
massively.
I'm reading the YouTube chat that's talking about Daok and the different realm versus realm areas as well. But Daok, the key area to play was the realm versus realm area. Yeah, and it just wasn't as good. They came close, but it just didn't cut it. They had the same idea of the 3 realms, but yeah, it was a paled in significance. Lotro's realm versus realm, the light versus dark, didn't cut it either. It was quite fun, but didn't cut it. I am in Sydney, Citizen Scott, and Execute is in Tasmania.
Yep.
So we're in the same time zone. We're just north and south.
About an hour and a half by plane apart, aren't we?
Yep, about that.
Yep.
So, yeah. Warhammer Online also did RVR. They were actually made by the same mob, or was being made by the same mob that did Daok originally. And I did like the look of it. One of my mates played it. I actually hated the look of the Warhammer Online because I never liked the early styling of the figures, and so it turned me off. Mythic Entertainment, that's right. And so I didn't get into Warhammer Online because I didn't like the goblins with the great big ears like the Warhammer figures, but they looked like Warhammer figures. It was the same reason I didn't like WoW. When it first, I ended up playing WoW because all my friends were playing it, so if you wanted to do group stuff, you did it, but I didn't like the graphic style, and yet I understood exactly why they did it, because it looked like Warcraft. The styling of the figures and the styling of the buildings looked like Warcraft. So, am I a rugby league fan? No, I'm not a rugby league fan, believe it or not. If I follow rugby league, I follow
Maroons.
The Blues. I follow the state I'm in.
Yeah, I lived in Queensland for a time, so I'm a Maroons.
Yeah. So yeah, I follow of the codes I follow. I actually follow NFL. And I used to follow San Diego Chargers. I got really peeved with the ownership when they moved to LA, because I'm pretty certain they weren't really wanted in LA. So, well, there you go. You've been in Sydney. We could have possibly run across each other, Luna Maria, although there are 5 or 6 million people probably 5 million people in Sydney now. And Sydney kind of is not only the central business district, but it kind of extends. The suburban sprawl kind of spreads up to the mountains. So, yeah. But yeah, so yes, the better of Warhammer, I think, kind of killed it. I don't even know that the game launched. I was that much not into the game. Sadly, I really wish that Dark wasn't still subscriber based, and I wish I could remember my passwords. Because then I'd log into my account and pull out my Heretic and go play. But yes, I love Daok. Dark was by far the best one I've come up, best PvP / game MMO I've come across. Yes, that's a cat. Anyway, that's enough talking about Daok and drooling over Daok. Lord Kazar, asking about CCUs. Is there a way to combine an LTI token with another already purchased ship like a Cutlass to take advantage of a price uptick from the original Cutlass pledge price?
No.
No. You'd have to basically, if you're using the LTI token, you'd use your token, and then you could basically rebuild that ship using CCUs and possibly get it cheaper. But if you've already got the ship with LTI in a game package, then why? And if you use an LTI token, you don't get a game package. Well, you may get a game package depending on the token you use. So, yeah. No, I didn't play Ultima Online Bounty Hunter Guild. A couple of my mates did. I never really got into Ultima. I don't know why. I just didn't. Evercrack, Daok, Lotro, Guild Wars 2. They were the ones that I played, and WoW. So yeah. Lord Kaiser, done that one. Citizen Ninja says, "What's the word on the PTV rework?" I don't believe there is any.
They talked about it, but they were meant to put new skins in and stuff like that. I think that'll clearly come in when the UTV is worked on as well. So obviously they've been kicked down the road a little bit until they do some more Grey Cat stuff.
Yep. Is there going to be a Christmas giveaway again this year? Do you mean like
the one we did last stream?
We did last stream? That would be multiple packs. Yes, we did it last stream.
Yeah.
But we do have another ship to give away today, or a bike to give away, an X1.
Yep.
And that will be via a riddle.
About the next 40 minutes before we finish, yeah.
So yeah. And we'll probably do another one of our giveaways somewhere around Invictus. So we'll try and do maybe 2 a year.
Yeah, we might even do 1 or 2 over the holidays. We'll see what happens. So yeah.
But yeah. Depends how we're feeling. Yep. Atlas Gaming, is buying the upgrade the only way to get the cool green white skin on for the Titan?
They gave it to us for free a year or 2 ago. If you you just got them for free. And so what they've done a couple of years later is they've just offered them for free to people that didn't get them back then as an opportunity to get them. And that's why some of them come with the blue and white and some of them come with the green and red. So if you're specific after the Avenger with the green and red, yeah, I think you're unfortunately, as the Australian saying goes, shit out of luck.
Hook 2005. Which manufacturer will bring the food van?
Be multiple ones.
Reliant.
The Reliant would be there. I think you could see a Drake one. I think there's many different ships that would work, manufacturers. I've said this before. I actually think you could end up seeing a shop ship, like just a solo shop ship from 3 or 4 different manufacturers because it makes sense. I can see an Origin one, I can see a Drake one, I can see everything in between.
Yep. I could definitely see a cutter being a food van. You know, just to me that looks like the classic food van. Yeah. But we remember the
so if they're only going to give one though,
if
they're only going to give one, you'd have to assume it's some kind of medium tech vehicle.
But, you know? Yeah, but you'll remember the April Fool's skin for the Reliant.
Yep.
In Big Benny, the Big Benny delivery truck. So, hence my Reliant food truck.
I could see, yeah, but like just like I could also see a fat little MISC vehicle.
Yeah,
you know what I mean, so yeah, it really comes down to which one they want to do. So All right, next question.
That's
Nova
cool.
A42 says the Connie rework doesn't go Dorito. Any chance of a future marked version of that? I think we kind of talked about this from someone else's question, but
Yep.
different time periods, and the Dorito stuff is more newer, and older at the same time. So yeah,
Could we get a modern take on the Connie? Yeah, sure. But same as we could get a modern take on an Aurora, given the Aurora is actually 30 years earlier than a Zeus. But
that'd be a really good way to do it to the Phoenix. Like I said, I really think they need to separate the Phoenix out from the other lineup. It just does not fit that ship. Well, and it probably did back when they designed it, but it doesn't now. And I think they need to give it the Buccaneer treatment, and I think that would be a good way to do it.
Now, people haven't seen where you said that because that video has not yet been released.
Where did I say
that? Upcoming video. In the upcoming video where we talk about 3 ships that need an update.
Oh, that Lunar Mate. Well, I'm going to have to kick it down the road now.
So we talked about it.
Well, that's going to be a while because I just realized all those buyer's guides I queued up.
Yeah.
So that'll probably be next weekend now at the earliest.
Yeah. Because unfortunately that, as we said last night, Lunar Mario, that episode is an evergreen episode as far as we're concerned, whereas the buyer's guides related to the new ships that are available on their current thing, basically for 3 to 4 weeks, they become more relevant, and time sensitive. So unfortunately, the 3 ships we'd like to see get an update has been pushed down the road a little bit, but it is done. Has been done. Gay Goose has a question. I'm constantly hearing, when ships receiving their update gold pass, what do you think is realistic time frame for when Star Citizen will actually fix these ships when they get around to it?
Well, they kind of mentioned that at CitizenCon, and they know it's a mammoth task. And I don't think it'll ever stop ending. I think they will, you start at 1, work all your way through, say it takes them X amount of time, let's just say for argument's sake 2 years, they get to the end, they could turn around and do it again and just keep repeating and repeating and repeating. And that's only going to get bigger over time too, as more and more ships enter the lineup.
Yep. I can imagine them working manufacturers. And I think that's also why we will see at some point older ships keep, having a new model come out where it's got the update. So you could keep your old ship or you could sell it and get the new one. And I think that's part of that.
You also got more and more people joining the ship teams too. So like people think, it's going to take longer and longer, but realistically it's going to get quicker and quicker because more and more people are joining onto the teams.
But I also do like the idea of having a classic Aurora versus the 2970 Aurora, and that's an early model. It's like your garage hangar queen. It's a 2942 Aurora. It's a
what we might do, Algared, is what I could do, and only just because it's Christmas and it's because it's Lunar Mario, is I could release that video for YouTube members.
You could. You could. Except Lunar Mario is a YouTube member as well.
So then, but then I'll upload it on Patreon as well, so they can see it as well.
So Patreon and YouTube members will get an early Christmas present.
I might do that after the stream, and then everyone else will just have to wait until it comes out in a week's time.
Yeah. So, what do you think, Lunar Mario? Should we do that, or should we wait until it's got a nice time frame and it comes out all together? So you get to make the call, Lunar Mario.
All right. Tom Corky says.
I'll put you on the spot.
Tom Corky says, does the law make it clear how common ship ownership is? Are they owned like cars are now, or are they still less expensive and out of reach of most people? Sounds like I'd say cars now.
That is a law question, and they are owned like cars. That was one of the things that RSI did. Welcome to basic membership, Dragon. But yeah, so one of the early things RSI did was they wanted a ship in every hangar, so every person to have a ship, and by being able to bring out the jump drive and make ships easier for people to, or quantum drive and make it easier for travel, they cut down the travel expenses, which actually helped bring the price of ships down and make them easier for people to own. So yes, the law does make it easier. Do we still expect the big ships to be owned by big people? Well, that's one of the things that in law, not Crusader, Consolidated Outlands did. So when they brought out the Pioneer, their whole argument was, we want to make this ship available to normal people, not just have base building limited to the big corporations. So you've got two examples there where the law is actually saying, yes, they're trying to make ship ownership owned by everybody, and even industry ships available for everyone. Even the RSI Orion is a platform which everyone can own apart from the big corporations. So I think that answers that question. So yeah, I hope so. Matt P. Is there a single source list of all Warbond CCUs ever offered over the years? If there is, Lemming would know it.
Yeah, it'd be Lemming would know, or it would be just watch our videos and compile them yourself. That'd be it. I've never kept a list.
No.
There's just too many. And then they re-offered the same thing, or re-offered with a different price, or
yeah. Yeah, sorry, we never worried to keep a list just initially, and then yeah. But Lemming would probably be the person who'd be more likely to have their finger on the pulse of that.
Yep.
There we go. Luna Maria says she votes for membership privilege, so it will be done. We will make it so. Or as Picard would say, we will make it snow. I know, bad Christmas pun. Monster Avery. Cause that was my question. They talk about it as modules, but they never sold them. Yep. And I'm assuming you're talking about the Apollo there. McNolan says, question, will we be able to place regen-capable beds in our self-constructed or placed? Possibly. Don't know. Really don't know.
Have I lost Chicken Agrid? Yep, I've lost him.
Sorry?
Again.
No, I just lost the I just saw the chat and I had to try and get context to the chat that I was watching. So
yeah, I can't get context of that one either.
And I couldn't get context for the chat thing that I saw.
Yeah. I am going to chop the bot off in about 2 minutes because we've already got more questions than I think we've got time. So.
But in terms of your question, Nick, it's possible. We don't know. We'll have to wait and see. Really is just a matter of what they allow us to build and how they allow us to build it. And I don't know the answer. I'd assume so, but that's a guess. MO2 Gotchas says, have you guys heard about the origin of 440A assault? No.
There's like a lore post, maybe. I've never heard of it.
I will have to Google that and see what I can dig up. Whether it's a player suggestion or something in lore. Ken has a question. I know you've covered the Apollo a bit already, but do you think it and the Vulcan will release before drone tech is in-game? I can't see the Vulcan being released before drone tech's in-game because that's all it uses. I could see the Apollo being released before that's in-game because the beds would enable you to still do first aid even if the drones weren't there. And tractor beams would enable you to pull people in and put them on the bed. So you could do the medical stuff of the Apollo without having the drones that the Apollo needs. You couldn't do the Vulcan without drones. It'd just be a whip. So, your thoughts?
I missed the question.
You were zoned out.
I am crashing fairly hard. I've not had enough sleep. If you can't tell, I've been fairly quiet for the last 20 minutes.
Yeah, I know. I'm waiting for you to butt in, and
I know you've covered Apollo a bit already, but do you think it and the Vulcan will release before the drone tech? No, I think the Apollo probably is the test bed for drones at this point, and then they'll move out from there. They could also use other vehicles that are already in game, such as the Reclaimer and things like that. So yeah. They'll take what they've already got. We know the Apollo's on the cards. It was in the yellow ship images. So yeah.
Yep. Why are vehicle physics the worst in any game ever in Star Citizen? Also clipping physics.
Just haven't balanced it yet, and they got to balance for every ship and stuff like that. That's why it takes time. It's not just this bang smacking in and it works automatically. Every ship has its nuances and stuff like that, and
every ship's got a different size physics grid needs it applied. Otherwise, you get the clipping of the physics grid through something else. So it's just balancing and fixing and all the other stuff. It'll get there. Raging Casual. Question: at what point do you think CIG begins updating the older ships to gold standard? Wouldn't they all have to be done before components and engineering can be fully implemented?
Pretty much. Again, you can also fake components where they're not physically in the ship, but their data is taken and stuff like that. So yeah, they've got stopgaps they can do.
Yeah. But they will work on the ships and they will get the components in, and they do that. And they have been doing that and going through ships every so often. So we noticed when we were looking at the freelancers, they had actually gone through the freelancers and put the component boxes in.
Yeah.
So they will do that on the ships as they go. But yeah. Kaiser Souza, do we think the Mercury Star Runner is ever going to be buffed up? It is bigger than the Connie Corsair, but with 1/5 the shields. Yes, but it's also faster. So.
Yeah, it's also meant to run. I'd use the comparison from the medium ship video where you're looking at the Spirit and the other ones. Like it's got speed as its advantage, so it's not meant to stay around. It seems to be starting to become a hallmark of Crusader. They're a physically bigger ship that's faster, but they are weaker. So they're a big target, but they're designed to be defensive and run. That's their thing. And
the Star Runner's got the other thing, but not only is it faster, but it's also got a large fuel capacity, so it can go for longer before it needs to refuel. So, pluses and minuses.
When I called that smaller Crusader ship the Sprite last week, I just remembered what Paul said. It was the Wisp.
The Wisp, yes. Like a will-o-wisp.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, that would be a very good name for a very spirity.
A smaller spirit, a wisp. It was a really good idea that he had.
Yep.
Yeah. All right, Jay. Oh, you go.
No, I really didn't mean to make such a serious question. Just wanted some banter. Well, that's what you get when we've got a bot that can put your comments or questions into a list, and we can deal with them at length if we want. Hook. Do you think we will ever get bigger hangars? Carrack can be a mess landing with same with a C1.
That's the disadvantage of the Carrack. It is not really meant to be landing in a hangar very often. It's meant to be out on its own for long periods of time. And
sounds good.
And that is the advantage and disadvantage of the Carrack. It is the biggest large ship, but I'd rather the biggest large ship that's difficult to land rather than a capital. Yeah.
MO2 Gotchas says, is there a community backlog of old ships that need updating, i.e. Valk, Raft, Gladiator, Sabre, Carrot, Freelancers, Tanner, and many more? Probably.
I think a lot of ships, if not every ship in the game, is going to need an update at this point. It's just that there are different parts and different manufacturers are at different points. So look, we know they're working on the RSI family of ships. So next year, it's probably going to be really evident that a bunch of those are going to need an update to be brought in line.
And as they're working on the RSI family of ships next year and doing those 3 big ships, I wouldn't be surprised to see at that point we get tweaks to all the other RSI ships as they go along. But that's just speculation on my part. So Heath Miller says, what would be your predictions for the gameplay features that's coming in after what was mentioned in the last ISC?
You will have to wait for an episode that we're doing next week with Space Tomato on that.
Yeah. So hold your horses. Citizen Scott, Kaiser Brew, VQ questions, they'll get to yours. No need to repeat or spam. Yep. Thank you, Citizen Scott. That's exactly what happens. And when I did come across the repeated questions, I just ignored them. Yep. If I remember. Drago Talon says, Drago Talon says, is there a way to tell the difference in 2 of Spain's ships in the ESOP? I pledged a reclaimer and brought one out, but different components. Yes, it's a frustration. It's a first world problem. I know.
Yep. And they can even change titles too. So if you put a skin on one or summon, like if you summon number 2, it all of a sudden becomes number 1. So
so it changes the order.
Yeah, they'll get around to it.
But yes,
I'm almost fully expecting at some point that's why the serial numbers are on them. So when you spawn them, you know which one's which and stuff. But we'll see.
I don't know the serial numbers on all my ships. Come on.
Well, again, that's why I think that, eventually the names of them could appear on the ASOP.
And that's why the names will help. And I'd love to see, I'd love to see them by click. I want Aegis, and then all the Aegis ships list or RSI.
That'll all come.
That would be a
not saying we will, but we may even see stuff like that next year. with the new HUD going in and stuff.
With the new HUD going in, but that would certainly be a creature comfort for people with large ships or large fleets, not large ships.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah. Odd Noun, says, do you think the Reclaimer will get a redesign to remove the big shredding area since the release of salvage and unlikely pivot back to the claw that moves pieces into it?
See, I've had a few people say this, and I've seen a few people see it differently, but when we watched that ISC, I really read that as once the Maelstrom system comes in and the physics come on board, we will go back and look at the old system. That's what about making it more like the original intention of it. That's what I heard. I don't know if you heard that, Algared, but that's what I heard.
I thought I heard them say that when you disintegrated the stuff and it was pulled in, it went to the muncher.
Yeah, I heard that part as well. But the main part I'm trying to say is there was a specific line he said to bring it back in line with the original intention. We will be coming back to work on this essentially after Maelstrom.
To bring it back. But you've got that where they're going to work on the claw to make it actually have purpose. But you've also got the fact that the stuff that's sucked in still goes through the muncher. So there's something they're thinking there's still a process or a purpose for that munching device.
And I think this is where the whole confusion comes in. I've heard something clearly different to other people. I've either heard wrong or other people have not heard what I've heard. But the person I'm talking about was the blonde-haired guy, and he literally said, once Maelstrom comes in, we're going to go back to the original intention. So the original intention is that claw will munch.
Yeah, so... but I think at the moment...
It's also why the claw's got teeth.
Yeah.
Why would you put teeth on something if it's not going to munch? And they are teeth. They are like the same processing teeth that are on the actual spinning thing of the vulture. So if that thing just is a straw like it is now, no, I just don't believe it is. And again, go back and watch it a couple of times, and I think you'll come to the same conclusion I have. Because I went back and watched it 2 or 3 times, and he literally says, that's what he says.
I certainly got the impression they were talking about bring it more back, not whether it would be an exact thing, but they were certainly talking about bring it more in line with what they said. But I could be wrong. I've only watched it once or twice, and usually when I'm tired, which is a bad time to watch anything and try and take it in. Yeah. But I certainly got the impression when they were talking about stuff being sucked up and going through the shredding device, that was still something they saw as being an essential part of the process. And so I don't see them getting rid of that. And if that is something they want to see, I think that lends credence to the thought of a claw having a purpose where it's crunching and bringing bigger bits in. But we'll have to wait and see, I think, in the long run. It could end up being they just can't do it. They want to do it and that doesn't work, so they end up pivoting away from it. I hope they can go back closer
Here we
to
go. I've literally found it's actually also the most replayed part of the entire video, by the way. I know you can't hear, but I'm not going to turn the sound on anyway, so don't worry about it. And I've turned on closed captions, but it's not this guy talking, it's the next one. And you can see here, look, this guy. Single player salvage, we're still very interested in enhancing the destruction side of structural salvage, more similar to what was originally conceptualized with munching, but we're going to have to wait for Maelstrom to be more fully realized before we can start experimenting with that. That's it. That's exactly what I heard. Maelstrom needs to be online before we can do the proper munching. If you didn't hear that, that's fine. That's what I've heard. Because they're saying Maelstrom's not ready yet to do destruction, so we basically gave you guys a stopgap until that's online. And that's what I heard. And that's the exact segment. That's how I was able to pull it straight up to video and go straight there. Because I've watched this, and I've watched it with subtitles on. It's like the 5th or 6th time. Just that small section. And if you want to see it yourself, it is around the 9 minutes and 17 seconds. So, but I don't know, Algared, now you've gone back and read that again. Does that change your perspective at all?
No, it doesn't change my perspective because my perspective is pretty much the same.
Yeah. But the people in chat telling me that I'm wrong, and that's fine. If you think I'm wrong, that's fine. But like to me, that's pretty cut and dry. Maelstrom's not online. We're going to change it when Maelstrom's online. That's any way of versioning and looking at it. Like, and that makes sense. You know, like the Maelstrom system's not up to snuff because it hasn't been ported over from Squadron, so they just gave us the sucking up ability until it's ready.
Look, I whether it is or not, I certainly think the straw, as it is at the moment, is a stopgap. It is certainly not the way I hope it ends up being. If it ends up being that's the way it is, it's because they couldn't get it to work. If that's what it ends up being all the way through, that's because they couldn't get it to work. It was a technical issue rather than a...
They literally say R&D. They literally, like, so we can start experimenting. That's what that... You can translate that to R&D. We're gonna play with it and see what we can come up with, and they basically put it on the back burner because they didn't have Maelstrom online, and that's why they just gave us the sucking thing.
Yeah. So once they got Maelstrom, as what I'm hearing is once they got Maelstrom, then they'll actually be able to expand and see what they can get it to do.
Yeah.
And but I certainly got the impression that the fact that the stuff that's even sucked has to go through the muncher. Indicate that they wanted to do something more. They don't want it just to be disintegrated stuff that's going into a sorting bay. That certainly was something I took away. So that the goal is to have it that the munchers are actually doing something rather than just sorting stuff. But yeah. Anyway, Kaiser Sozo says, do we think master mode changes suggested by Avenger 1 are legit?
Haven't seen
Seems combat and master mode is DPS race, not skill involved.
I haven't seen them, and I've seen some other hot takes with Avenger that I agree with and others that I disagree with. Like, he really hated the fact that the Redeemer existed, and, you know, it essentially has been nerfed so this light fighter meta can continue, and we all know at some point the light fighter meta will not continue. So for now, that's all fine. But I don't think any of us can safely make a full comment because not everything's in. Like, as soon as you add armor in, we don't know all the different levels of armor or how it's going to operate. So and that's just one aspect. We don't know about alien flight models. I can sit here and rattle off a bunch of them, but until they're all in, I don't think any of us can make a fully fledged 100% accurate comment. So he could be right on the money, he could be way off. I just don't know.
Well, even when you look at the impact of ships with a jump drive and not having a jump drive.
Yep. There's
that's
another
going to
one.
limit the light fighters.
Yep.
And the
Absolutely.
fighters that don't have a jump drive. Yeah, they might be the meta if you face one, but getting to the location where the combat is could be an issue. And that's where you'll need your carriers, your support, So, yeah, it's never just a cut and dry, is it?
No.
But I haven't seen Avenger 1 stuff either, so I can't say whether it's legit or not.
Not the stuff on what they're talking about there. That's obviously come out
Yeah.
recently, and I haven't seen it. So.
Yep.
Yeah.
Of the master modes is combat ship orientated. But all of the master modes is combat ship orientated. But how does that work for non-combat ships like the Vulture? Surely an escort or a Vulture is overkill. For a Vulture is overkill, but without it, it would be doomed. And that's from Demonic.
Yeah.
Yeah, possibly. We don't know yet. Have to wait and see. Casey Norton has a question. Sorry if I missed it. Do you think there will be any Jumptown store sales, or are we done until the next big event?
Can you answer that, please? I'm replying to someone.
Not sure. Can't tell you because I don't know.
Yeah. What was the question?
Jumptown store sales, or are we done until the next big event?
No, I don't think there'd be a Jumptown sale. I think the only things that we know about was the Dark Harvest thing, which was for the F7 Mark II or whatever, and that could be in January or could be tomorrow. I doubt we're really getting anything before the end of the year now. I think Luminalia is it, and then the events that they've put in. If you look at the skins that were leaked recently, you can see that they put some racing skins in, but they put in some other things like Valentine's Day, St. Patrick's Day, Chinese New Year. They've all been put in advance. So whatever events that were in those files are events all the way up until March, essentially. So that's another 3 months of events that have been chucked in there. So that Dark Harvest and other things are probably coming, January, February, one a piece type of thing. And
Yes. Koromara is in February. That's right, Citizen Scott. I forget. I always forget
the next sale. The next official sale would be Valentine's Day. They did one year do an Australia Day sale.
They did,
didn't they?
It was a green and gold Gladius.
Yep. So they might do something again like that. They might have another country sale, but I wouldn't be surprised if we don't get an event for. You got Daymar Rally in January, I think, as well. So those racing skins, I think you're probably going to see a racing skins thing in January, if I had to guess, and then maybe something in February. But yeah. All right.
Yes, Luna Mario. That is basically what they were saying initially. That physical munching took too much memory, but
the Maelstrom system will fix the
Maelstrom will fix that and enable them to experiment.
And just because they haven't gone from Squadron 42 over into Star System, the Maelstrom system's not there for them to work on yet. So it was that cart before the horse problem again. But they wanted something for the end of the year, so they could have just not done it and made us wait another X amount of months.
Yep. So. 19 Crossbones 85 says, do you think that after C1 and Zeus CL got their tractor beams, CIG will go back to old ships like the Freelancer or C2 and add tractor beams as well?
They will add or fix tractor beams to ships that require them. So I was looking I think it was yesterday or the day before at the 315p, and that thing's weird. The tractor beam turns on, but it doesn't rotate. You can't do anything with it. So what is that for? It's got its own cargo bay, but it can't turn around and load stuff onto its own cargo bay. So that's one. The one you and I found with the Cutlass not working properly. So quite honestly, they need to go back to the ones that already have them and make sure they're working more efficiently. I don't think they're just going to retroactively go, "Ooh, this ship should have a tractor beam." They may do that, but I think it'll be more of a one-off, not a every ship under the sun type of thing.
I could see a reason for even not changing, like with the Cutlass. It would be great to have it so you could actually load cargo into the Cutlass like you can with the C1. But I could also see them leaving it because that then gives a differentiation between the two ships as well, because you can at least get the cargo to the ramp. It's not the best.
It just makes it garbage. I just don't see that at all. Sorry, I can't agree with that. It just makes the whole point of having the tractor beam pointless. It's so bad that you can barely get the box to the top of the ramp.
You get it to the ramp.
I can see your point, but I just don't see them doing that. It'd be equivalent to half-assing it. So yeah, that's my opinion.
Well, it is Drake.
Yeah. Well,
so
it's only a small fix. Like, again, it just needs to be lowered ever so much.
It needs to be lowered a little bit. But...
Yeah, and if you see how far down the one in the C1 comes, you could literally just take the mount off the C1 and put it on the
the C1 mount is absolutely brilliant. And yes, the Cutlass would be
the one on the Cutlass is so high because the door's got to close. So that's where the problems come. They've gone, all right, we need to somehow make an animated mount for this to work, and that's why it's been put on the back burner. I worked it out about a week ago. I was like, yeah, it's because of the door. So they've got to have something so when the door, like, it somehow opens and closes with the door, and that's the problem. So, yeah.
But again, they could just leave it. They could, they could leave it like that because it's Drake. Would it benefit from it? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Does it make it a worse ship with the way it is? Absolutely. Yeah. Could they leave it? Absolutely. Could they fix it? Yeah. But yeah, cheese bread at Inforunners. What in the Luminalia did I just step in on? How festive of you both. Well, thank you. Thank you for that horrible tongue twister of what in the Luminalia did you just step into. It made me have to struggle with that, especially as it's getting near the end.
Right, Christine says, in terms of the big exploration ships, what do you think gets done first? And in what order? Carrack, 600i rework, release of the Galaxy and Odyssey. Well, the Galaxy is the first one, easily.
Yeah.
Just
because the Star Stars they're working on next.
Yep. After that, your guess is as good as mine. I'd probably say, that's a tough one.
If I was hazarding a guess, since we haven't heard anything for a character rework, or I haven't.
Actually,
and Odyssey's still being built.
There is actually the younger guy that worked on the Fury and the Saulian was meant to be looking at the armored screens for the Carrack.
Oh, right, okay.
That would be up there too, and that would probably even come before the Galaxy. Now I think about it, so yeah.
But what I was going to say is, if the Galaxy came out first, based on what we've seen, I'd say the 600i, because we've at least seen stuff of a 600i rework. We haven't seen anything really new for the Odyssey or the Carrack. So that would be my guess, but it could be anything. Take your pick. Yeah. Whoever gets allocated to the job is really the order it goes.
Yeah. Right, next one. What happened to promising the redo of the PTV last year? Yeah. And that's from M2O. Gotcha. Yeah, I think it's just hit the back burner, and obviously it'll probably come over at the same time as UTV. Algared?
Yep. Yeah, I just think it's a small vehicle. What has priority?
Yeah, well, it's like much like the X1 took 6 years. It just they're way further down the totem pole because they can be slipped in between things and by an individual. So.
And they're small and they're nice to have them, but yeah.
Magdal Walker says, question, good day, Algared, good day, Execute, greetings from Puerto Rico. Do you think that the Mirai Fury can function well as a scout ship for finding mining rocks and planets? No real scanner, no real quantum drive, no, would be my quick answer to that. Could you do it in a pinch? Yeah, yes, but it would definitely not be my first or 12th choice. It would be much further back than that. Algared?
I've taken my P72 or P52 flying around Hurston, and yes, you can do it. But the problem is you don't have quantum drive, you don't have so it takes a long time.
Yeah.
You really need a mothership at that point.
Manually flying there and manually flying back, and the out of the snub ships, the Fury has probably the least of any. I flew from Orizon to Port Olisar when it was still there, and I did it manually because you can't find it, right?
Yeah.
And by the time I got there, and I went in a fairly straight line, mind you, I'd already used 75% of my fuel.
Yep.
So I could fly there, but I couldn't. I knew at some point, like when I click past the 51%, I was like, right, well, there's no point. I'm past point of no return now.
Yeah, I've got to keep going. I can't go back.
Yeah.
It's the same with the MPUV.
Hmm.
I've done things in that, and yes, you can use it for that, but you really want to be using, at that point, why don't you just use a mole or a prospector or the next site or a 100i?
Yeah. So to put it into your scouting question, you could probably get down to the base, but you ain't coming back. That type of thing. So
yeah,
we'll see. There might be a moon that's got less atmosphere or something like that. But yeah, I pinch. Oh, Wearing Pro says, I missed out on some CCUs this IE. When can we expect to see non-combat ships come back on sale? Next year, AIE would be the big one.
The guarantee is next IE. Anytime in between.
Yeah, and if they have little one-off sales throughout the year, they'll sell a ship here and a ship there. But right now they're selling the Reclaimer again, and what else? There's a couple of ones on because of the patch came out. So whatever, I'd have to go have a look. But like anything that was fun, I think they might even have the Vulture for sale because of the salvage stuff. So yeah. Right, Citizen Scott says tea and shortbread coffee and Tim Tams. I'll take the Tim Tams and the shortbread. You can have the coffee, Algared.
Yeah, I would say coffee and shortbread or coffee and Tim Tams. Tim Tam Dunk or Tim Tam Slurp or Suck.
Thinking about every time I went to my nan's place, she's passed now. She passed a couple of years ago, and I used to always get shortbread that she'd made, and I'll miss that. So yeah. Yeah.
Oh, you do. Yeah. But yeah, the Tim Tam Suck, definitely good with coffee.
Yeah, very good.
Definitely good with coffee.
Right. Eric Bollock says, do you have a link for the ship size comparison image 8K version you showed a few weeks ago? It will be on Grim Starjump's Twitter. And he sends them to me by hand because he updates them and stuff like that. But I don't want to share what he gives me. So if you want it, it'll be on his Twitter or on their YouTube or Twitch. And if you ask them directly, they may send you one. But it's not my work to share, so I don't want to give away other people's stuff. But he sends it to me in 8K because I know he knows I use it on the show, and it allows me to put in a higher resolution. It's also a very big image. It's like 50 meg for a single image. That's huge.
Yeah.
So yeah. Smoke Clouds 8 says that cat a part of the giveaway. No. You wouldn't want her. She's very loud and always wants food.
Question: did X get OLED or QD OLED? Only true blacks with nits of 400 to 1000 are real HDR screens.
So there's no OLEDs officially out yet. They won't be out until the end of next year. I just got the model I got was a 32GP 850 by LG, and I already had an LG, so it's just like almost like an updated version. So it's a 32-inch, and yeah, and I kind of got it on special because I went in and it was the last one left that they had, and so they had a demo model, so I kind of got like $100 off. So yeah,
nice. Cheesebread at Inforunners. Question: have either of you had any experience with the master modes, and what's your opinion? I like the speeds, I hate the new targeting. I haven't had any experience in the lately. So, and you were saying you'd been in, you checked it out a little bit.
Yeah, I haven't checked it out in 3.22. So
yeah.
Warrington Pro says, do you think we will see Crusader start a ship down the line? Absolutely. I think that one in the yellow ship image could be a good contender. Algared?
Yep, sounds good to me. Giveaway, because we've got 3 questions left.
Yep, okay. Let me do that real quick then. All right, so the one.
And while you're doing that, yes, Demonic, Tim Tams are awesome, although they do not have bugs in the ingredients. How dare you? Disgusting person bagging on Arnott's like that. But only the original Tim Tams or the double coated Tim Tams are good. The bang dangled stuff that the trying to appeal to the American market, what a load of rubbish. Pink Tim Tams, blue Tim Tams. Oh.
I had one here and I can't find it. Where the hell did it go?
If I hadn't used it, I could use mine, but I already used it.
Yeah. All right. I'm just gonna ask the hardest one they've got here. Right. So this one is a harder one, and so here we go. So here we go. Everyone ready? You ready, Algared?
Yep.
Though you've heard of me 1,000 times, my number's less than 2. Most of the things that start with me turn out happy when they're through. What am I? I'll do it one more time. Though you've heard of me 1,000 times, my number's less than 2, and most of the things that start with me turn out happy when they're through. What am I? Well, no one on Twitch has got is. Oh, there we go. Clever Ghost got it. It was Once Upon a Time. Bang, he got it. And it's close second by Boosting.
Yep.
Yeah.
Clever Ghost also. Oh, you said Clever Ghost, didn't you?
Yeah, Clever Ghost. So reach out, Clever Ghost. Unless you want to give it to Boosting Clever Ghost because you got a ship recently. It's up to you though, Clever Ghost. I'll leave it up to you. So yeah. So reach out, Clever Ghost, and let me know on Discord, and we'll get the X1 off to you. Right. That's that. Next, back to the questions because we only got 3 left.
So Warring Pro.
Yep.
23 IOUs, Squadron 42, and Star Engine presentations are bringing in a large amount of new players. Do you anticipate CIG releasing all new events this year to keep the hype train going? So with all the new people coming from CitizenCon and the presentations, do we expect them to try to keep the hype going with events?
I think that's what they're trying to do. Like as there being multiple, multiple events in the files, I think that's what they are trying to aim for. Yes.
And Clever Ghost says, looks like give it to Boosting because he says Merry Christmas, Boost next.
Yep.
So
I don't know, either or.
He says he can have it. I pass it on.
Cool. All right, Boosting, reach out to me via Discord, man, and we'll get that off to you. And the other gentleman has already messaged me already, and I'll get it off to him as well. So
yeah, that's a ho ho ho.
Yeah.
Clever Ghost is now Clever Santa. Okay. So I do think they're going to try and keep the hype going because it makes sense, especially if they're aiming for end of this year, Q1 for Squadron. Eric Bullock, do you see drones as being some magical space field or actual mini mobs flying around at specific places?
Sorry, I'm doing. People are messaging me. Sorry. Do you see drones being some magical? No.
Yeah, that's a question.
That is a question.
Yep.
Mini mobs flying around. Is this
they're
talking about combat drones?
Yeah.
Yeah, it could be. Could be rogue drones. A whole bunch of stuff.
But I certainly see, the bigger being the remote control drones, there'll be physical things that fly around and do stuff to ships and refuel, rearm. How they do that might be more magically aspect, but yeah.
I'll do one more riddle just because Clever Ghost gave that bike away and he likes riddles. So I got one more here. He goes, you can put me on or cut me down, and I'm often under watch. And though you'll never say I'm found, you'll sometimes hear I'm lost. What am I? Read it again. You can put me on or cut me down, and I'm often under watch. And though you'll never say I'm found, you'll sometimes hear I'm lost. What am I?
Yeah, I never know.
He got it. He got it straight away. He got it straight away. It's weight. He was right. He got it straight away. Yep, it's weight.
I hate riddles.
I like them. I'm a big fan.
And Dimako says, when will they include mass of cargo into consideration of vehicle handling? I always thought that ships were geared as if they were fully laden at present, or was it the other way around?
They are always considered heavy, fully laden at the moment, but I think
That's what I thought.
I think that's changed a bit too, because there's no way a Crusader, the C1 flies that well with cargo. It's insane.
Yeah.
Like, it flies better than a Cutlass.
And if it does, then it needs to get changed because it's,
Yeah, it's insane. So maybe initially that's how it was, and maybe things have changed, but again, that'll be a part of the ship passes. They go over them all, so yeah.
Yeah. And that was our last question.
Yep.
So only 13 minutes over today.
Oh.
But we got through them all. Probably because we also cut the bottle earlier.
Right, I'll do one more riddle. Here we go. It's a very short one, and Ghost will probably get it instantly again. Here we go. Feed me and I live. Give me a drink and I die. What am I?
Easy.
What is it?
Even I know that one.
What is it?
Even I know that one.
What is it, Algared?
It's a dumpster.
No.
Fire.
All right. I fit in the palm of your hand, yet I can turn the world upside down. What am I?
I know.
Time was an earlier one, not this one.
Yeah.
This one's a bit harder, I think. I fit into the palm of your hand, yet I can turn the world upside down. What am I?
I don't know.
No, it's not time. Oh, I don't think anyone's going to get this one. While you do that, I'm going to get a raid ready. We're going to raid Avenger 1 because we were talking about him earlier.
Yep. And he's online to another good reason to do that.
Yep. So, you know, if you want to know his thoughts on the flight model, feel free to ask him.
Yeah.
And you know, ask him like, has he considered armor? And you know, does he think things are going to change? Because I'm pretty sure everything's going to change, at least a couple of times before.
How will flight model change once you're no longer fully laden?
All right. So the answer was, because no one seems to be able to get it, is a spoon.
Enriched plutonium. There you go.
It's a spoon because it can, which reflects things that are upside down.
Yep.
So when you look down at it, it reflects things. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, that's why it's so tricky because you got to think of the reflection.
Yeah.
All right. So Twitch, say goodbye to YouTube. YouTube, say goodbye to Twitch. Have a good Christmas, everyone.
Take care.
Or happy holidays whatever holiday you support or believe in. And we'll see you guys next week. All right. Goodbye, Twitch. Bye. And they're off and gone. And yeah, as for YouTube, you know the usual spiel at this point. Don't forget to like, subscribe, ring that notification bell, and thank you to everyone that went that extra mile on the end of the video on Patreon.
Yep.
Anything you want to say to anyone, Algared, before we head off?
Merry Christmas. Take care. God bless and be well.
Yeah, have fun with your families. And I wish I'd said this before the Twitch people left. If you know someone that's single, make sure you reach out and wish them a happy holidays as well, because it can be it is the most suicidal time of year for a reason. So I'm always careful of it, especially with the stuff that came out after Jade and those giveaways a few years ago. Well, with that then, everyone enjoy yourselves. Don't drink too much next week either for New Year's.
Yep. So next Friday should be next stream. So
Yep. No problem. All right.
On that note,
he's been Algared.
He's been Execute, and we're out of here. Take care.
See you, citizens. Bye.